Okay, make sure everything's working. Audio. Hello, hello, test. All right, good, good, good. Let's change the settings. Make sure that's right. Yep. Okay, good. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so, what we're doing today, if it wasn't clear from the title and what you see here, is I'm going to be reacting to Ludwig's class at Streamer University. The reason I'm doing this is because I have one seen a little bit of his classes, and I believe that he has some really good strategies and techniques that are relevant for teaching in general. And I've heard that other classes don't actually do that. So I'm more interested in kind of discussing what Ludwig is doing correctly as a teacher. And then, maybe if people actually enjoy this, or if I enjoy doing it, I'll actually go through and look at other teachers' classes at Streamer University. But what do I have to say about that? Why am I going to be able to tell if this is good or bad teaching? I am actually a teacher. I went to university and got my degree in English, like Ludwig did. But I've got like a minor in education. So I have been in the classroom for not a long time, about 2 years. And I feel like I have enough to say, enough perspective to share that this could be an interesting watch. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing today. And let me just test to see if the audio is working on this playback before we really get started.
Get lucky sexually speaking, I think to become a successful streamer
if the
requires a
audio is
modicum
working
of
on
luck.
this playback
And so it's like, how do you get that
before
luck?
we really
That's the
get
idea.
started.
Let's just go, man.
Lucky
Take it on
sexually
the day.
speaking,
We
I
need to
think
lock
to become
in.
a
Is this class fucking one? I checked, by the way.
Okay, so audio seems good. So we're gonna just jump in. If there's like a broad amount of stuff that doesn't seem to be like him actually teaching, like kind of like this right here where he's kind of doing the interview beforehand. I might skip ahead a little bit, but he might reveal something about his lesson like he did just there recently, or something else. So, we'll just kind of be watching. I'll react and pause and talk just like this as we go through.
Of my 120 students, 6 have done the homework.
So, yeah, there is a big thing with homework, and how helpful is it? How effective is it? Um, and I think as Ludwig will learn, it's really hard to get students to do homework. Even if you have people that are invested in what you're teaching, as I'm assuming these students would be, as they're all trying to go here to learn something about streaming, about being successful. And Ludwig already has a step up on a lot of teachers in the fact of his credibility, right? A really big part of student investment into learning is developing that teacher credibility of why should I listen to you, right? As a student, why should I listen to you as a teacher? What about you shows that you're actually qualified to teach me? And Ludwig has that in the numbers, in the stats. Like, people know his face. People know him as a successful streamer. So, what does Ludwig have to teach me about successful streaming? Well, actually, a lot based off of XYZ, right? So, I think he's got that going for him. But even with that ethos, with that credibility, he's still going to struggle to see the homework because of commitment. I don't. This is probably something that he assigned to them before he's even had a class with them. And then if this is their homework, how can you expect them to know how to do it or what to do, or the expectation for the class without having a class? So yeah, I don't think that I would assign like some preliminary before you even come to my classroom homework. I would have to assign the homework after explaining what I'm expecting of the students. And when students have that clear expectation, they're a lot more willing to do the work, right? So without any expectations set, just a random thing sent ahead of time, they're probably not going to be willing to do it. So
6 is bad. That's a bad percentage. 5% is low. 95% of people didn't do it. The people in my class should do it because I'll tell them, but the other people who aren't in my class don't get to do it. Fuck. 6, man. Such a low percentage. I guess it narrows down who's coming to streamer games.
So, two things here. Number one, you see him like worrying about the numbers a lot, and in education, there's a big push for us to be numbers based, because we are professionals, we are data driven educators, is what a lot of administration likes to say. And yes, numbers is really important, but I think you also need to have a balance between numbers and sort of the real feel or like lived experience, the reality of things. And sometimes the numbers don't look pretty, but when you take into consideration XYZ, right, the numbers might make a little bit more sense. And ultimately, even if the numbers don't look how they should or they don't look how you want them to look, it's really important, I believe, not to beat yourself up and really stress yourself out about your success, right, as an educator. And another thing is you need to understand where your value comes in, right? Are you determined by your success as an educator? Likely not, but if you do feel like you are, I don't really think that's the most healthiest mindset to tie your self-worth to your worth as a worker or as a employee or as a teacher or as a career. But if that is what you're feeling, if that's how you assign value, you need to be very careful about what number and what datas determine your success as an educator. How do you truly measure how someone understands something? Because that's your ultimate goal as an educator. And that is a widely debated topic. In America, we've had, the standard tests like No Child Left Behind that have been our go-to for this is what determines success, this is what determines understanding, right? And so, depending on your district, you might have your own individual assessments that you're trying to hit, your different benchmarks. But I think it's really important to know where the standard assessments are accurate and where they have faults, and just encourage yourself, or I would encourage yourself to always take data with a grain of salt and don't assign so much value to it. The second thing he said, let me just rewind because I went on a little bit of a ramble there.
Man, such a low percentage. I guess it narrows down who's coming to streamer games.
Okay, so obviously a bit of a joke, but Ludwig does hit on something here which is really relevant to education in general, which is incentives. If you want someone to do something, right? You have Billy Bob, Jane John, right? Well, great names. But you'll see crazy names in education, so it works out. So you see these names you see these students and they don't want to do anything, right? They don't care about learning. They don't care about your content. They don't care about school in general, right? But they do care about something. Everyone cares about something. And a very common one you'll see that students care about, especially like younger kids, is like candy, like sweet treats. And so you give them this incentive, right? Something that they want to do, and then you provide the means to get that thing, right? You give them the opportunity to earn the thing that they want. And in this case, Ludwig is saying, we found out who's not going to streamer games, right? And so streamer games is a huge event that these streamers would love to be a part of. That would be an incentive. In this case, he's doing what's called I think it's called a negative incentive. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. Whatever the actual term is, a negative incentive is like structurally the same, because it's saying, oh, you want this thing, you'll lose this thing, right? You'll lose the privilege of going to this thing if you don't do what I'm asking you to do. I would always lean towards positive incentives, um, as positive incentives are like, you still have the negative incentive of they lose the opportunity to get the thing that you promised them, but that's all because of their choice, right? They choose not to do the work or not to be, they don't be successful and they don't earn that prize, right? And that more mimics like the real state of the world, where if you do a good job at work, right, you get the promotion, or we hope we get the promotion in this economy. Things aren't exactly always like that. Okay, let's keep
I picked from 120, now I'm picking from 6. Pretty small list. All right, so I think this is the rundown. 5 minutes after class ends, lock the doors.
We discovered a lock. There's a big ass lock.
Oh yeah?
Like no one's getting through it kind of lock.
Like, do we know how to open it?
Yeah, it's really simple to open, really hard to get into.
You look like a Mormon mission.
Okay. So I think what he's trying to incentivize here is impromptu. What am I trying to say? Punctuality. There you go. He's trying to teach his class punctuality. How do you teach punctuality? You have consequences or incentives. Consequences for being late, incentives for being on time, right? And so in this case, his consequence is you don't get access to the material. You're not going to be able to learn. If you do not show up on time, we close the doors, you're not coming in. How do I feel about that? Well, in a public education setting, there is definitely consequences for tardies, but the consequence is not an expulsion from the lesson. The student has to be accounted for, so that would be a huge no-go. We do shut the door in a public education setting, or at least I definitely do, after that 5 minutes or after the bell rings, and they've had time to get here. But you obviously open the door because you can't just have students wandering around. In this case, it's a little different because they are adults, so it's not like a safety concern having them like wandering around. But me personally, I really hate any consequence that takes the entire lesson or takes the entire opportunity to learn out of their grasp. I think it's okay to remove students from the classroom if they are preventing the entire class from learning to a major extent, and they've had warnings and they've had other consequences and whatever. Like, if they just can't function in that classroom that day, then, I definitely agree that removing them is probably the best thing for them and the rest of the students, right? So with that sort of exception, yeah, I don't think a consequence of removing that learning opportunity is the best. I will say for adults, though, that will teach them the lesson. And if they miss that class, they have that very hard lesson of punctuality, which will help them with the rest of Streamer University in this case, and help them with their Twitch streams. There is definite data from what I've seen of where sticking to a schedule, being on time, helps increase your viewership, or maybe not increase, but definitely retain your audience, because they can actually show up to your streams on time, they know what to expect from you, and they can kind of trust you as a person to do what you say and say what you do, right? So yeah, I think this is definitely a fair strategy. It will definitely teach that lesson. So let's see if he actually enacts that.
Dictionary? Oh, I know, right?
Everything but the shoes.
Really? Lose the tie? I do feel like I should drop the tie. I feel like it was better.
Okay, so talking about dress, I actually really... yes, he looks a little goofy, but I think it's good, right? He's trying to be a teacher, and like we said before with ethos, part of building that credibility, trying to convince someone that you are qualified to teach them, is dress. When I first started teaching, I would wear like 2 or 3 piece suits, like all the time, like a lot, to kind of enforce that sort of, I am here because I'm here to teach you. I'm a professional. This is a professional job. So that told the students that I was about business. And it also helped me feel better and more comfortable because I felt like I belonged there, right? I think they talk about this. There's a psychological effect of dressing to impress. It's like the same thing with interviews. You want to put on your best foot forward, your best impression. So yeah, I definitely think the look is good for this, and it's not entirely, it's not like super professional, but he's got the tie. The tie is big. The collared shirt is big, and he's got like the khakis and the nice shoes. Yeah, I think this is a great outfit that helps the streamers, again, who are all adults, right? So helps them like distinguish the two between like teacher and student, right? So yeah, definitely think the outfit's good. I wouldn't
like
lose
slightly
the tie.
unbuttoned a bit.
I mean, it depends how professional you want to be, man.
What if I do like one of these, like fucking,
Like overstressed worker.
yeah, like I'm just finishing my shift and I'm like fucking like fuck, bro. God damn, is it hot?
Yeah, it's warm.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean this is funny, and he's doing his own content creation right now, so it's understandable like doing stuff like this. But I actually do like the idea, especially when you're teaching adults, right? You can joke with your students more and more. The more, what am I saying? The more of a relationship you have with them, and because they know the expectations and you know each other and you'll do the work. First day maybe not, but considering that again these are adults like and they're streamers, then yeah, doing this makes a lot of sense. And it can build a rapport with your audience or with the students in this case, as you're more human, right? He's got the messed up tie. He's not like perfectly like unattainable as a person. So yeah, definitely being able to build that sort of relationship by just with this is like a conversation starter. Like, what happened to your tie, teach? Right? And then he can make up some story, and then you can laugh about it. And it just makes them a little bit more comfortable starting the class. So yeah, that's good.
No, it's like this is what I'd be like with a unbuttoned.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
vibe.
it's warm.
Fuck, it's hot. God damn it. Shit fucking job. Okay, let's see. Does it F in here?
Well, I was gonna comment about the swearing, and like maintaining a professional attitude, right? Swearing in the workplace or swearing around the students is not really ideal. I think even in Streamer University, I would probably watch it with the swearing, or even in a not maybe I don't know about Streamer University because it's kind of weird, like twisted thing. But even teaching like adult students, like swearing, it comes off as unprofessional most of the time. But if you have that relationship with them, if they're fine with it, then yeah, it's no issue. Okay.
Okay, I am
Good.
Professor L.
He spelled professor right? Already W start. So he's showing up to his class 30 minutes before class starts. I don't know if this is the first time he's been in this classroom. If it is, I definitely would have like set up my stuff earlier than this. If he's been in the classroom, he's already familiar with the space he's going to be presenting in. This is perfectly fine. 30 minutes before class starts is usually what I did. And I just, I just kind of get my things together. I'd, write whatever I needed to on the board for the day. Maybe I did some last minute work that I could have done the night before. But yeah, 30 minutes is a great time window. And then this is the first day of class, so having how you want to be addressed on the board is great. It sets a very easy to read introduction for the students. And again, Professor L, not Ludwig, not what is this? Not Mr. Ogren, not Doctor. Right? This is. I want you to call me Professor L. Right? And now everyone has a clear expectation of how you're supposed to address me. And this is also another factor that separates student and teacher. Right? It makes the power dynamic clear and the authority better. So they're more willing to respect you and listen to you.
1F.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Okay, well, that's embarrassing for me. Professor. Is it two S's? Professor? That's probably what it is.
One F.
Oh, when someone said one F, I thought I was talking about like.
No, it's supposed to be one F instead
Yeah.
of two Fs. English major? I'm not an English teacher here, y'all.
English
I'm
major
a fucking
also.
streamer professor.
It is two S's
What
though.
up?
I corrected
Early
myself.
for class.
Sit in? No, we're gonna have to wait till 2:45. Doors will open then, though.
Sorry about that.
No worries, man. Good to see you here early.
Wait, let me finish the conversation.
Early, man.
And I saw you did your homework.
Yes, I did.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a good student.
Okay, yeah, this is really great stuff. Okay, so student comes in, he wants to get into the class early. How does the teacher respond, right? He's very clear with his expectations. You're right. Class starts at 2:45, right? You have to wait outside until then. So it's, again, these are the rules. This is what I'm sticking by. And the fact that he's sticking to the rules of the university at large is also really good. It maintains a level of universality. So the so the student understands that these are the expectations for this school. So I can't go to, Professor L here and then show up to a different teacher's class and expect to be treated any differently, right? This is the expectation of the school and I will follow it. All right, that's good. The other thing that he does is he compliments his student for his willingness to show up on time, like that sort of punctuality that he was already talking about incentivizing with the locking the door. So he's not only going to have a consequence for those that show up late, he has an incentive for those that are showing up early, saying exactly, how proud or how excited he is to see him and, welcoming him. And that class is going to be good. It's an awesome start to that student's impression of the teacher. Also, what else does he do? Let me just watch it back.
Early, man.
And I saw you did your homework.
Saw you did your homework, right? It shows that the teacher is paying attention to each student and he knows that student specifically. It makes the student feel seen. It makes the student feel better about themselves and the choices that they made to be better prepared for the school, right? Or for the lesson, right? So all that's really good stuff. The number one thing in a classroom and classroom management in teaching and education is for you to have a strong relationship with the students, right? And you get a little bit of a annoying administration who just push that idea that all that matters is the relationship, and it's not all that matters, but it's really important because students will ultimately choose what they want to do. If you have a relationship with the student where they care about you, then they don't want to disappoint you and they want to do their best around you. You bring out the best in them. So yeah, I think relationship building is very important. So yeah, I definitely 2 thumbs up for me. That was good.
Yes, I did.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a good student.
Bader, you put in the Wi-Fi? Huh?
That's a good student.
Mr. Keem? Yeah, Mr. Keem is a good student.
Mr. Keem, right? Mr. Keem. Referring to your students in the way that referring to your students in a respectful way is a really good way to build up, again, your credibility and that relationship. If you don't feel comfortable calling them like Mr., Mrs., and like more professional speak, if you want to be more casual with your students, you can, it's not like you have to do this, but I think it's a good way to make a student feel good about themselves. It's like, I kept talking about how you need to separate the teacher from the student. But if you do something like this, where you call them the way that an adult would be referred to in their mind, by their last name, Mr. Keem, then it's a cool way to like immediately boost their like, oh, he called me what I have to call teachers, right? He respects me. He's giving me that like the same thing that I have to do to other people. So that's good. And then what else was I gonna say? I'm not entirely sure.
Wait, should we show the log?
Yeah, come on. So if you're wondering how we're locking students out, it isn't through traditional locks. They literally have this like just metal bar. Just a metal fucking bar, which Christian keeps calling a school shooter lock, which it probably is.
That is pretty intense. My school did not have the budget for something like that. But yeah, that is. I say schools plural. They didn't have the budget for something like that, but I don't even know if that's a budget thing. That looks pretty cheap to set up and install, and that would be very helpful. It's like a straight up, like you cannot get in. Yeah, this is like a big safety thing. School shootings are a terrible thing that happen in our society, and yeah, most of the time, what we're told to do is they keep changing it because like more information is released as like data comes in. But I think the most recent thing we had was like God, what was it? It was something like out of sight, flight, or fight in that order. It's like the number one, or no, it was like maybe flight was the biggest one. Flight, out of sight, fight, right? Because if you can run and if you know where the intruder is, right, and you see an opportunity to escape, get out of there, right? If there's a safe way, if you're on like the ground floor, you have a window, you know the shooter is at the far end of the building, get out. Just run into the woods or run into wherever you're going and get out of the place, because otherwise you're trapped in the building with the shooter, with the intruder. So if you can run, we'd run. Then it's hide, which I think they actually updated to like secure or something, because it's not just hide, it's like hide after you've like barricaded your entrances and stuff. And then like after that you're hiding. And then lastly it's like fight. So if the intruder does break into your room, then it's be prepared to fight them, right? Like have some sort of weapon, like usually it's like a baseball bat. Or I don't know if they allow tasers. It just depends on the school, I guess, also. But like the teacher has some like weapon that they have some and then like the students like have like scissors or like textbooks or something that they can throw. But yeah. Pretty messed up.
Which probably is, because we live in America. I guess you could really get crazy. But this way you don't have to physically
Guard the door.
Chat, does this look good if I'm here? And I'm like, all right, so, does believing in yourself mean I'll be able to know?
I would like to see the whole room before really judging his positioning, but it looks pretty good to me. He is in front of what he's trying to present, so that you have the big projector to the back. He's not blocking the screen or his name that he wrote on the blackboard or anything else that he would want to write on the blackboard. So he's not really in the way of stuff that the students should see. In fact, he's kind of blocking a distraction, which is like the Red Bull refrigerator. I think he's sponsored, so I get it. And then I think you could also have the Red Bulls as like a sort of incentive for students, which obviously they're adults, so it's fine. But normally I would not have students drinking energy drinks. In fact, they're banned most places. So yeah, is this okay? Yeah, I think this is good positioning. And with positioning, you can't be too in your head about where you are. You just need to be aware of it, because you don't want to be in the way of students, but you also shouldn't just be standing there talking. You should really be like moving throughout your classroom, kind of monitoring what students are doing, as well as give students something to like more like engage with, right? Like, so, jingle, 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 right? If you give them something interesting to look at, which you presenting should be, instead of just you being like stiff board, like, so this is what I'm presenting on, and this is what we're doing, and that's not engaging. But if I'm standing up, right, if I'm moving throughout the classroom, I'm talking here, and then I'm walking, and then like if you're moving, then you automatically are a little bit more interesting, right? If you're moving closer to a student, not only are you more interesting, but they're less willing to engage in disruptive behaviors, right? So like talking to a classmate, being on their phone, anything that like would distract themselves or from other people with what's going on with the lesson. So yeah, movement super important. So even if this is like the best place to present, you would want to be moving around. So.
And then Bader asks a question. Kill yourself. Back to the bar. And I go.
So dark humor, again, not really appropriate in a school setting. Although the occasional darker joke, definitely not saying kill yourself. That's crazy. But you know, the occasional darker joke will definitely like get the audience like more engaged. Like, what did he just say? You know, and maybe that can be a bit of a distraction. But if you're choosing between a little bit of a distraction then get back to the lesson, or having your students like slowly drift away from the lesson and fall asleep, you should be willing to do that little like jolt of like surprise in your lesson, so that way you get them back in.
Boom.
Yeah, looks good.
You can let our students trickle in.
So I'm a bit early. It's hot outside. Wanted to hit the AC.
No, I can just fix the spelling. I'm feeling embarrassed about it. Oh, fuck. Now it's got that like messy.
You didn't clap it out.
I didn't clap it out.
You didn't clap it out.
But you gotta clap it outside, no?
God, I such a thing with like, oh god, with like chalkboards, like this, like the fine like dust of it. It just makes me cringe, man. Ugh. It's like when people like talk about like nails on a chalkboard, like that, but just like chalk in general. God, my hair's standing on end. Can you see the goosebumps? Oh yeah, you can see them a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
You can kind of clap it wherever, bro.
It's like low-key disrespectful though, no?
Clap inside? You probably shouldn't clap.
I was so thankful
You know
that
that Japanese
my
chalk company that went out of business? They were the best in the world.
No, why'd they go out of business? They're the best.
so glad my
just not enough
classrooms
people buy
always have
chalk.
whiteboards
Does that look
instead
like a
of
It is
blackboards.
really slanted.
Is that how you like to be referred?
Professor L in class. Yeah, please do not call me Ludwig in class.
Yeah, again, student asks a question, teacher, goes ahead and responds and explains and clarifies. What I would say is you probably should have some text near the name Professor L, because this is a big thing that happens not only in like classrooms, but all over the world when you're trying to communicate with someone, is you assume that the audience understands how to interpret something, right? I wrote my name on a blackboard. You, audience member, you, student, should definitely have the context and understand that this is how I want to be called. But you should always assume there is at least one student that is not going to get it. So always be very clear, very direct with what you want to be done, right? Because if you don't tell them how to take it, they're going to take it how they want to take it and what makes sense to them. And you don't really want that. Most of the time, you don't want that. So you want them to understand how you want them to take the information. So I would write, you can call me Professor L, or in class, call me Professor L, right? Or name, Professor L. You get it. You get it.
Okay. Sounds great, sir.
Professor L's fine.
Professor L.
Thank you.
It is really slanted.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, bro. Is it our class? No, that's what I'm fucking saying. It's Professor L's class. It's important. Bro, my shit slants a bit. That's fine.
So this kind of reminds me of like what it's like teaching with another professional in the room. If it's not a co-taught class, if it's just someone that's in the room for support, you can definitely take their advice with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, it's your classroom and you have final say. Now, alternatively, this also makes me think of, students who like to be teacher, who like to say how a class should run or how something should go. And And the best thing for them is to give them control in a way, in a place that you are okay with giving them control. At the end of the day, the reason that they're saying, like, oh, it's slanted, Professor L, it should be like this, is because they have, like, a desire to have some say in the classroom of how it works. They want to have control in that situation. And so, because ultimately you are the one with all of the control and power, right, as the teacher, you will permit them to have control in a way that is productive for the classroom, right? And so, for instance, instead of just maybe saying, yeah, it's slanted a little bit, but that doesn't matter. We hear Ludwig say that, maybe it is kind of slanted. So if he cares about that, but he doesn't want to actually rewrite it, then he could have the student rewrite it for him, right? Oh, well, hey, Susie, if you think it's slanted, awesome. Why don't you come up here and rewrite it for me? That'd be great. That would help me so much. Now, the student who wants that bit of power, they get that authority, they get that control, and they get the satisfaction of, like, oh, the teacher, like, listens to me. Like, they think that I can do a good job. I can help the teacher. And now you've cultivated a student who is more willing to participate with your lessons because you've given them the opportunity to show that they are valuable, they can be helpful, and helping you makes you feel good. They feel good about helping you. So all of that's great, yeah. But this is an opportunity to kind of improve. If you wanted to do that, this would be a way to improve his lesson. If that other student, if he wanted to do it. But I understand. Again, everything I say here is not to say that, oh man, he did such a bad job, like he's trash. I want to commentate to educate you guys as the audience, but also to allow other people who are maybe interested in teaching, or for Ludwig, or any other like streamer who's at Streamer University to maybe get some feedback on how like they could improve, right? If they want to do that. But yeah, this is just for the sake of commentary.
Professor L, are you sure that's how you would like to be referred? I'm just double checking.
Professor L, wait.
Okay. We have the same student, yet again, kind of questioning the teacher, right? He's asking, is that how you want to be referred, right? Are you sure, right? Even though the teacher has clearly said, this is how I want you to call me, it's written on the board, right? Expectations made clear, and the student's still questioning about it. So I'm curious on how he's going to answer this, but
Why would that be bad?
There's a lot of people in class who might not be down to be serious. They might be trolling.
I don't get it. What's wrong? Professor Al.
okay. So student not really trying to control. He's just trying to be a good guy. He's saying like, hey, I think other students might make fun of you if you do that. And then Ludwig, going for content, trying to be funny, is acting oblivious. Acting oblivious is one of the superpowers, is basically a superpower you can have as an educator. I don't think Ludwig is using it correctly here. He's just using it to make a joke, but if you act oblivious, you have many opportunities ahead of you, right? If you act oblivious to a mistake you made, right? You can allow that student to take initiative and agency to teach you how to fix it. And the best way to learn is to teach someone else when you have a basic understanding of the information, because the cognitive activity, I don't know if the better way to describe that, but the actions your brain has to take, the hoops it has to jump through to figure out how to best explain information that it understands is the best way to solidify memory into long-term memory, right? It goes from, oh, this is like a random calculus problem, to I remember that time I had to teach someone this calculus problem. It becomes like a bigger memory. So yeah, acting oblivious is great. There's other things you can do with acting oblivious. And if it comes up, I'll bring it up. I'll mention it, but...
L's for Ludwig.
Okay, understandable.
It's like a pseudonym. I don't get it. What's wrong with L?
Maybe like Professor L. Wig?
You're still on this? Professor Ludwig.
Like, it's just a suggestion.
Okay, so this is kind of what I'm talking about. If this was the middle of a lesson, we would have the... Sorry. If we were in the middle of a lesson, we've spent... Let me see.
Bro, my shit slants a bit. That's fine.
Professor L, are you?
Okay, it's 9:59 when he first asked the question.
Maybe like Professor L.
Okay, so we've spent now about 40 seconds, and we're probably going to keep talking for a little bit, so I'm just going to round up and say we've spent a minute on this, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but if this continues to be a problem throughout the lesson, we could go on for 5 to 7 minutes, maybe even 10, depending on how long or how big of an issue it is. But the student clearly is concerned, and Ludwig's answers aren't satisfying that concern. So how do we rectify it? How do we make the student drop the subject, be happy with the situation? And in this case, the student's trying to be helpful, even though, and this can happen, a student will try to be helpful, but at the end of the day, they are causing harm. And in this case, trying to be helpful, trying to make sure that Professor L doesn't get made fun of, but now they've brought the attention of the name to the other students, if it wasn't already known, which would be, but they've brought the attention there. They have now wasted class time, and now they're continuing to waste class time as we go back and forth on this. So the way I would approach here is just not act oblivious like you did before, but tell the student, I appreciate your concern. That is entirely valid. I'm okay with other students that might get distracted by my name and how I want to be referred to. Let me worry about it. If they have issues with my name, we'll talk about it. I'll deal with it when that happens. All right? Thank you, but this is how I'm going to be referred to. And if another student has a problem with that, I will deal with them. Right? And in that way, you have validated their concerns and their feelings. You have explained exactly how you feel about the subject, and you take the burden away from them, right? You tell them that you are going to deal with it, right? You can trust me. I am going to be able to handle this, right? And most of the time, that's perfectly fine.
Wig?
You're still on this? Professor Ludwig.
Like, it's just a suggestion, but I will call you Professor L. That's not...
At that point, then why wouldn't I just be Professor Ludwig? Because Ludwig is the same amount of syllables as Ludwig.
Maybe like anything after L, maybe. It could even be like one letter.
What's wrong with just L?
Yeah, I mean, this is another option you have, is kind of to workshop a solution with the student, where it's like, let's come up with like a better name, or you know what I mean? And so if you don't really care, then you can work to a solution that makes both you and the other person happy. And in that way, you model compromise, decision making, as well as how to communicate and find a solution with another person, right? All of those are great skills to teach a student, and that conversation would give them practice to do so. And in this case, Ludwig really wants his name to be Professor L, and so what he's now engaging with is just arguing and banter for the sake of it, which I think is just a waste of class time. Again, none of this really matters because we haven't started class. We have 9 minutes left. But if Ludwig's busy trying to prepare his presentation, then yeah, he is wasting time. And also, what it's also doing is it's developing a expectation for the student that he's talking to, that the student can continue to kind of talk to Ludwig in this manner. Again, not that he's being disrespectful. He likes to be being very polite, and he's trying to do a nice thing. But it's making it clear that it's okay to talk and communicate about these things. Even if the teacher says no, I can still keep asking, and there's really no consequence for it. I can try to push to see my way through, right? Subconsciously, right?
It's just the first letter.
Maybe you could use your last name as an initial instead of your first
Like
name.
Professor A?
Yeah, maybe. Professor A would probably be, actually not probably, it would be way better than Professor L.
Just don't go by Ogren a lot. But people used to call me Big L growing.
Again, student wants to have that say, wants to have an impact in the classroom. Professor A would be way better, right? And if Ludwig doesn't care about it, he could change his name, and then that student would be even more invested in the class. But like I said before, it might have like the wrong implication subconsciously, where that student now feels like they have more of a say than they should, right? Especially if Ludwig doesn't want to be called Professor A, like it seems like he doesn't.
Big L?
Yeah.
Growing up, that doesn't mean anything other than your name is Ludwig, I guess.
See? Well, I'm gonna be freaking weird about. Have a seat, y'all.
Hey.
Appreciate that, Professor.
Yeah, greeting your students at the door. I would actually be like outside the door, maybe. I mean, yeah, I would be outside the door. But for the first day of class, I could kind of see where you would want to be inside to make sure that they're doing what you want. But really good way to make sure that students come in with the right energy on like first day of classes and stuff is to be right outside the door. Communicate with them, give them that hi, hello, if, shake hands is great. And get their name and then, share how you want to be referred to, and then tell them exactly what you want them to do, right? So, for instance, like, let's say this is Professor L, right? My name is Professor L. What's your name? They say Susie or whatever. Susie, that's awesome. Okay, so today, Susie, we're going to just be having a, intro to the class. Go ahead and have a seat wherever you want. I would not have them sit wherever they want. But yeah, sit wherever you want. Get your supplies out that I've written out on the board and be ready to learn, right? And so they now know, I go into the classroom, I sit where I want, and I'll get my supplies out when I'm ready to learn. The only thing I didn't mention was when. When do you need to be ready by? So I would say, have your supplies out ready to learn by the time that I'm back in the classroom, which will be 5 minutes or something like that. And then I would also have a timer going up on the board for like when that happens. Like, so when the timer's done, we'll start class. And then that way you don't have this weird like clogging that's going on in the middle here. So we have like 2 students right now, and then it seems like more like outside the door, like maybe starting to come in. And then you make sure you don't miss anyone. Like no students can skip past you and like not know what's going on in the class. Everyone has very clear expectations, and it's very, very smooth. You want everything to be smooth.
I'm Robin. Good to see you, Robin. The pursuit.
So yeah, you can have some students that are, I'll say eccentric, yeah. And let's see how Ludwig handles an eccentric student.
Of liberty, and I like that. And I like the pursuit of liberty.
Yeah, I think positivity is always good. If they are acting a bit strange or in a way that is otherwise not what you'd expect, staying positive is usually good. Now, the issues arise if that strangeness starts to cause issues in the classroom. I think a big one that you see is students get kind of isolated with like group work settings or bullied potentially. And when that steps in, like, again, you have to be the adult. So even if you think it's strange that your student's dressing up like a Robin, you are the adult, and, bullying is not allowed, right? It's not tolerated in this classroom. You make that expectation clear on day one, but then you reinforce that and emphasize that if you see it happening, and you have a clear consequence for bullying. And even if you feel like it's weird and strange, you do not isolate that student yourself, right? You are accepting of a student's quirks and personality. Even if you don't feel that way, you need to broadcast positivity towards that, right? Until those actions and behavior directly lead to disruption in your classroom, right? Like maybe if Robin's like, I've got to stop crime, and like jumps up on the table, and like now he's a distraction, now he's an issue. You didn't care that he dressed up like Robin. You care that Robin is currently distracting the rest of the class and disrupting it, right? And then you have consequences for that, right?
My hand sanitizer moment. Peter's just outside. Everyone walks by and goes, Ludwig's class. What time is it? 2:59. Do I start at 3:05 or do I start at 3? I'll probably close the door, Bader, and then just open it to let him in. I won't lock it until 3:05.
He should have that information. He needs to be very clear on what the rules are and regulations. If he's unclear, then how do you expect your students to know what's going on? And apart from that, even if you are unclear on the official rules, your classroom has its own rules, and as long as you're consistent with those rules, that's fine. What I would say, since Ludwig is unsure of like the official start time, he would have his own rule, and then for this day and this day only, he shuts the door at 3, and if they do show up, instead of being locked out like they normally would, he lets them in. But he says, you know, after today, you know, like we have this first week of learning the rules, but after today, you know what I mean? It's not going to be, you're going to be expected to know what's going on, right? Is how I would do it. So this first week, if you're not here by 3 o'clock, I'll give you some leeway, I'll let you in, but after this week, then you're totally locked out. You missed my lesson. That's what we're doing. So that's how I would do it. And let's see.
Doors closed. I love the chitter chatter of a classroom before it starts. It's like you know, an orchestra warms up and they're all playing the different note. If you hear my voice, clap one.
Okay. Yeah, that is a very like a very nostalgic feeling, you know, for someone who's not a teacher, and then for someone who is a teacher, that is a very classic feeling, especially like your first period class in the morning when people are kind of like waiting for like the announcements and stuff, like before we're expected to do things. But that chatter before like class needs to only be happening to a minimum, because they should be focused and busy. This is where like bell ringers and warm-ups are a huge thing, where hey, when you get into the classroom, this is what I'm expecting you to do. And in this case, it would be like a warm-up on the board. So I don't know exactly what Ludwig's lesson is on, but if I had to imagine, he probably could have had his homework be the warm-up, where it's this small thing that I'm going to have you do, and it's setting up my lesson. Because he obviously wanted them to do that before his lesson, so if he could do that as a warm-up, that would definitely set up his lesson better than having this homework that no one actually did. So yeah, I would have like a warm-up for them to do, and then instead of just like randomly chatting with one another, they're doing something that is related to the lesson. We're not wasting time introducing the subject because the warm-up does that job for us, and people are in the mindset of, oh, we're here to work, we're here to get stuff done, not socialize, not chat with my friends, although we can have that, but only after we get our work done, right? And then what I'm assuming he's getting ready to do is get like, I like to call them attention grabbers, right? So this is like, if you hear my voice, clap once. If you hear my voice, clap twice. You know, eyes on me, all eyes on 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me. What are some other ones I did? God, I don't know. I would there's a lot of things, but essentially it's just something where it's like, if there's a lot going on, if the students are chatting, involved in their work, busy on a project, or you need to do anything that gets the whole class's attention, you have a way that tells this, like, the students that this is when I need to focus on the teacher, this is when I need to look to the teacher. And so in that way they kind of are like, for lack of better words, like programmed to react to these like different like little like vocal stems. So like you think of like clickers for a dog, you know, they hear the clicker, they know to do something. And so for the students, it's, if you hear me clap once, right? If you hear me clap twice, and like that gives their attention, their focus. They know that that means we're ready to learn.
Once. If you hear my voice, clap twice. All right, guys.
All right, and so the reason we do it twice versus just once is that you do it once, and then like So the very few people that like actually like caught on to what you said, they clap, and then everyone's like, "Why did everyone clap?" Because clapping's very loud, and then because they kind of quiet down to listen, then they hear Ludwig say the second one. If you hear my voice, clap twice, and then they know what's going on. Then they all clap. Everyone's on the same page. We're ready to start talking, or Ludwig's ready to start talking.
Guys, I have a few minutes before we started for real, but for now, I want you guys to be thinking about this question. I just want your own responses to it. I'll be asking you in a few moments. You can still talk amongst yourselves, still talk to your chat. We'll be started at 3:05. Doors will be locked then, and then things will get going. Anyone got any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so he's got a warm up actually. I guess I would have to see like the time between when the students walked in and when he did that, but I would say he should have already told them to start looking at the question on the board, so they could start working on that. And then with the you can chat while you do it. You can chat while you do it. I would say that's a bad idea, because you're just gonna get people that are too distracted by the people talking to them to actually be able to focus. Then you have students that are that have like maybe they have ADD or maybe they just have trouble focusing. And just all of the people talking around them will not help them get the question done. If you want them to do the question, have them focus on doing that question. What I would say is if you're done with the warm-up, then you can read your chat, right? I don't love the fact that they all have like their devices out. Devices are a huge distraction for learning. When we had like laptops like one-to-one at my different schools, we would have like I would have like a rule where it's today is like we're using our laptops, but we're not using them right now. So until I say we're using our laptops, right, it's off and it's to the side, right? So you close your laptop lid, it's off to the side. And when I say we're using it, then you open and pull it up. Otherwise, it's just these devices are designed to grab your attention and to hold on to it. There's like infinite things they can do, even with like the web browsers blocked and different things like that. It's like there's always going to be like the cool math games of the next generation of like unblocked game stuff, where it's like it lets you play, it lets you. They're just distraction makers. Even like the camera feature, like I would have students that would like have their camera on and like doing their makeup and stuff. It's like off, away. You're doing the warm up, right? That's what we're doing. So, but I also understand that this is streamer university and like the idea is this is an event that can be streamed. But yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
Oh, let me see.
We get going. Anyone got any questions?
No, sir.
All right.
So, another good thing he does, after he explains what he said, he makes sure that everyone understands what he just said. So, does anyone have any questions? And then he only gets like one response, but he was waiting for someone to say that they have a question, which is fine. What if you wanted to like make sure that they understood that everyone was aware of what was going on, you could have a student, you choose a student, or you ask the whole class, hey, can anyone just tell me what I just said, right? Make sure that student specifically that you call upon understands, but then having a different person, one that the students may already know because it's like a class in general, reiterate what is said in their own words helps everyone understand better. Looks like we have a new viewer. So just to be clear, just to know what we're doing is I'm watching Streamer University, Ludwig's class, and I'm just kind of explaining from my perspective as a teacher, like things that he's doing well and things that could be improved upon. So
Let's get to it. You sitting in?
Yeah, just a little bit. Trying to learn from the best, man.
Not the best. I saw your class. That looked great.
Thanks, appreciate it, man.
I like the PowerPoint. One issue we might have, I'm realizing, is if we lock it.
okay, a thing that he does that's pretty cool here is going around and talking with students, seeing how they're doing. Because the students should be focused on the warm-up, which it seemed like they kind of were, and then he can go in and kind of get to know his students a little bit better, build that relationship up, and make sure that they're doing the warm-up. That's another big thing that he can do. Excuse me. And now he's kind of reflecting, which is good, on his decisions that he's making. You don't want to psych yourself out, but at the same time, it's really good to be flexible. So kind of thinking about potential problems that arise after he's made a decision.
How is Bader gonna let them in? So after 3:05, I think you come inside and you lock it. And you just have a message on your phone.
No entry without
If
Red
you
Bull
are
or
late,
milk.
you need to bring Professor a Red Bull or get a signed slip from your age.
Okay.
I don't really know what's happening there, but I don't like the idea of like you're late, so you need to go on a side quest. I guess it's the idea of like the consequences you have to do something for me that you wouldn't normally have to do. Or this is also kind of like we have a process here. If you disrupt the process, then you need to take accountability. In a standard school setting, this is, oh, you're late? Okay, well then you need to go get a tardy slip from the office, right? But normally it's like just marked that you were tardy to that specific class versus like you going to the main office every time.
Damn.
Why do you have milk? But still on time.
Have a seat. 3:03.
A little late.
3:03 is a little crazy. I still don't see.
Yeah, talking to your students, just having a little bit of banter, like a little late or like getting close, cutting it close, like, yeah, that's fine, that's good. Also, helps the student kind of understand that next time they should show up earlier. If you want them to actually show up earlier, you should be more clear. But just like warning them that, hey, you were almost late today, so just like keep that in mind next time as you're going through to your classes or you come to my class again. Yeah, so that's good. What else? Was there anything else I noticed?
Have a seat. 3:03.
A little late.
3:03 is a little crazy. I still don't see.
No, I didn't notice anything.
I yelled at him yesterday for talking. Since then, he keeps going up to me and doing this. I was running.
So that is an interesting comment, right? I yelled at him yesterday for talking. Since then, he does this. That is a thing that students do. Usually, when it's actually not usually, it's like very, very often that this is revenge seeking behavior. So you did something that upset this student, and now they're seeking revenge. And so this one is a very minor consequence or behavior. In this case, just like doing a little hand symbol. But yeah, you yelled at me, you made me feel embarrassed, or you hurt my feelings, and now I'm going to do this to try to get back at you. Was Ludwig in the wrong for yelling at him? Probably not. He was trying to teach a lesson. He wasn't getting his attention. He didn't stop, so he yells at him. Depending on the context, yelling could have been an overreaction for sure. But what Ludwig needs to do now as a teacher, right? You have this student who is engaging in a behavior you don't want him to as revenge for what you did. You need to have a conversation with that student, like a heart-to-heart, a genuine conversation, and speak to them about what's happening, what's going on, right? Why are you doing this? Or did I hurt your feelings, right? And so by having this heart-to-heart conversation, you're hopefully able to break down the cause of this behavior. And then if you are in the wrong, even if you're not, you can apologize for how your actions made that student feel. And explain that in the future, how would you like me to handle that situation, right? When you're talking with your friends and I'm trying to teach my lesson, how would you want me to get your attention or to inform you that you need to stop? How would you want me to do that? And then the student's like, well, yeah, I really hate it when people yell at me. It makes me it scares me. And it's like, next time, if you want to get my attention, could you just clap your hands twice or something? And so then Ludwig knows. It's like, okay, when Johnny is talking and I need to get his attention, right? I clap twice and then he knows, right? If that doesn't work, then you have another conversation, like maybe after class or something. But yeah, it's really important to isolate that student in a more personal, one-on-one setting. Additionally, it's also important that for that one-on-one setting, you let them decide when to meet you, to give them a little bit more agency and control, and incentivize them to show up to a time that they agreed upon, right? That gives them more buy-in. It doesn't become an order where it's like, you need to show up to my class at your lunchtime, right? It's not that. It's, hey, I think we should talk. Do you mind scheduling a time that works for you? And then it's like, no, I don't want to. Well, it's like, okay, we need to talk. So either you can schedule a time, or I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to schedule a time for us, okay? And so, just kind of making it where it's not an option that we don't talk, but it's an option on when you want to talk.
Bathrobe last night, trying to fucking take a dump. He goes, I'm like, bro, please.
Professor, pre-class question.
Yeah.
What can I do to be your best student?
Just participate.
What?
Listen, be an active listener, be an active learner.
Make really good notes.
Honestly, the best thing you can do is be an amazing streamer in 6 months and then say it was all because of Professor L's class.
Okay, so the last part is a joke, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Love that. Banter is good with the students most of the time. But okay, the other student is like, how can I be a good student? And he throws out a lot of things. Be a good learner. Be an active listener. Participate. Again, this is what we were saying with writing your name on the board, but not telling people this is how I want to be called. There is a disconnect between the communicator and the audience, right? How does that student know what you define as a good student, a good listener, an active listener, and a participator? Okay? What does participation look like in your classroom? You need to define that. What does a good student look like in your classroom? You need to define that. What does an active listener look like in your classroom? You need to define that. If you don't define that, you're asking that student to try to emulate the best idea of what they think those terms mean, right? You see how many obstacles they have to go through? They have to know what the word means, or at least understand what the word means to you, which we all have our own relationship with words and what they mean. So that's basically impossible, right? Then you're asking them to be able to actually exercise that in a way that they feel achieves that goal of what that term is. And then you're asking them to do that with 3 different terms. So yeah, this is a big first day thing. You need to teach your class what do these things look like in your classroom, right? For Ludwig, maybe he believes that participation is raising your hand for questions, right? Maybe he believes participation is writing notes down, right? You need to tell your class, this is how I want you to show your learning, show your success. And then, we're talking about active listening. Active listening is a skill, and so you need to teach them how to actively listen, right? And so you just go through a lesson, or you model that for them. Modeling is a really big deal. And when I say modeling, that's a little bit of a term now. Now I'm asking you to know what I mean by modeling, right? So modeling is when I, as the teacher, or as the person who's trying to impart some knowledge, is going to show you what it looks like to do a skill by me doing it. And then after I do it for you, you have a model to go off of, right? Kind of like a blueprint. To further reinforce this modeling, we will do it together. So after I've done it by myself, we're going to do it together, right? So we're going to do the task together. I'm doing it and you're doing it with me. Lastly, after that, we're going to have you do it, but you're going to do it with a partner. Okay, so you and your partner are going to do it to try of your best ability, and then the 2 people help each other. And then lastly, this is the actual last step, we're going to do it by ourselves, right? So first, we start out with, I don't know, I think I explained that perfectly fine, and I kind of want to get through the video, so we'll go through it. If someone has a question about it, they can ask me. We don't have many viewers, so probably ask me in the comments of the VOD, and I'll explain it more.
Okay.
And that's my best student.
We're already planning on it.
There we go, perfect.
And that's my best student. I don't like labeling students best students. It usually creates like a competitive atmosphere, which isn't good. It also puts down all of the other students that aren't the best student. And I don't think that really is cultivating the right culture.
My name's Alazami. You know.
Elazami?
Alazami.
Alazami. Oh, I do know you. I looked at your channel today. I looked at all your channels today, yeah.
Better if he already knows their names, which he kind of does. It seems like he does. But yeah, looking at everyone's channel is like the perfect example of how to prepare yourself and learn about your students before the day of the first class for this event for Streamer University. You get to know about their personality. You get to know what their stats are because we're trying to help them improve their stats. You get to know their name, and you get a little, just like a little introduction to them that prepares you on how to interact with them, and it makes the students again believe that you are taking this seriously and that you care about them, that you did your research, right? I always made it a effort to memorize students' names before they were in the class, right? And so it's like, oh yeah, you're Jamie, you're Jeremy, right? Like recognize them by like their pictures on our systems and like their name, right? And obviously I would, struggle with it because it's so many students in such a short amount of time when we actually get like the class lists and stuff. But, after maybe 2 weeks or even 3 weeks, I would have it like locked down. And it's always hard with like pronunciations too. Like you get so many different like interesting choices on how to pronounce names that it's really hard to do some stuff, but just doing your best and putting the effort in.
All right, it's 305.
Black boy is coming up right now.
Come on in.
Do I lock him out?
Come on in, 305. Doors are officially locked.
You got some boys coming in now. And he's saying, no, the expectation is 3:05, and they're late. So, yeah, I'm locking the door. Great. It's important. You have a rule, you stick by that rule. Now, I'm not saying you can't be flexible at all, but especially like first day of class, you need to be very clear on what your rules are and keep up with them. I like to be very restrictive and strict early on in the year. And then as you learn more about the students and like what exemptions you should maybe be making for them, you can be a little bit more lenient as you progress with your rules.
At this point, everybody is officially late.
I was walking up.
No. All right, y'all. Do you hear my voice clap once? Do you hear my voice clap twice? Sarah, sit the
We got a new viewer, so just to clarify what we're doing. Thanks for dropping by. We are watching Ludwig's Streamer University class, and I, as a teacher, am commenting on things that he's doing well, things that he can improve on, things that I agree or disagree with, stuff like that. And I talked about this already, but you're new, so what he just did, if you hear me clap once, if you hear me clap twice, that is a attention grabber, is what I like to call that. And it helps the students understand that we are now listening to the teacher. Now we're getting their attention. And so what I really like is that he's done this once already, and now he's doing it a second time, right? So you want to be consistent with how you're grabbing the student's attention, the class's attention. And so he's showing that, and he is, reinforcing that behavior in the students. So that's good.
Guys, we are now starting. There's two people.
So someone just swore in his class, sit the fuck down. I would be very clear with that student that we don't talk to our peers like that. If you are in a professional workspace and you told someone that, then you would probably be getting a severe penalty from HR, right? You would be talked to by your boss. There would be consequences. And so my classroom is no different. You do not speak to your other classmates like that. We don't do that here. I would, honestly, because it's Streamer University, I would kick them out of the class. There's no reason to say that. But, maybe you just let it slide after, talking to him about that. It's like, hey, this is your first and final warning, right? And just, like, keeping that, like that authoritative tone, all right?
Outside, should I let them in? I'll leave it up to you guys. Yes!
They're late.
Liberty!
No, they're late.
Mercy! Show of hands if I should let them in.
Okay, love this. He has a rule, right? But they're kind of close. He's on the outskirts, so maybe Ludwig himself is kind of debating. Okay, should it be that they are immediately, this is it. I'm not letting them get in my class, or should I let them in? And so instead of making that decision himself, because he's kind of torn on it, he's going to let the class have some agency. He's going to let them have choice, right? A choice on whether or not to let them in, and voice. They're going to be able to voice that opinion. Both of those are really important for increasing the class's engagement with your lesson, but also preventing what we were talking about before with students that want to seek control, right, or power. So you give them that power and that control by having them say what they want to do, right? And in this case, he also does a good job of kind of disbanding the amount of chaos in the situation. Because, at first you hear like everyone shouting out their opinions. That is a good sign. That's a sign of energy and engagement. But it's a little chaotic and disruptive, and you can't understand anyone. So we're doing a show of hands, right? Show of hands if you want them to do this. And then show of hands if you want them to do this, right? This is really good. I would just be very clear on what the options are before you start the voting. And what that means, right? So if I let them in, that means I'm going to have to open the door. They're going to be able to join our lesson, etc., etc. If I don't let them in, they're going to have to, what did he say? Like get a Red Bull or get a signature from this person and then come back to class later in class. So with that being said, if you want them to join our lesson, please raise your hand. And then here we go.
All right. Keep those hands up. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, hands down. Hands up if you think I shouldn't let them in.
So there's a split here. Sometimes I would say it depends on your class. So sometimes you should know how many students you have in the room. So in this case, let's say it's 21, right? You just counted 10 hands. You know that the vote is lost, right? It's 10 to 11. But even if you know the math, the students might not necessarily. And all of the people who have the losing option or the second vote or the winning option, either way, the second vote, you want them to be able to raise their hand so that way they get the effects of what a choice like this brings, which is that they get to express themselves. So I would normally just let them vote anyways. Just to one, double check that the math is right, that they actually did win. And two, to just give them that choice and voice.
All right, Mater,
I already sent them on the mission.
when they come back, all right. Next person they're in, but
Next person's in.
the next person's in. Class just voted to let you in. They just voted to let you in. Bring it over.
Wait, I brought you this. I heard that it was bonus points.
All right, lock it. Now we're locked for real. All right, have a seat. Please have a seat. Everyone, welcome to my course today.
Please have a seat. It's a good way to ask for someone to do something. I think he should be a little bit more specific on where he wants them to sit. Because, I mean, these are adults, so it changes a little bit. But, like, with students, you want to be very clear on your directions because they could do things that you weren't expecting or didn't want. Like, let's say he said, please have a seat, and then she sits on the ground or sits on a table. He doesn't want that. He wants her to sit at a chair. So he'd say, please have a seat by the table over here. Pull out the chair and sit down for me, please. Right? Because you want your directions to be clear, and normally you want them to be broken down a little bit also. So it's not just like, do like 5 different things. I want you to do this, then I want you to do this, then I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. And this ends up landing them in the seat, by the table, by the chair that you wanted them to, whatever. So yeah, just like breaking down your directions, and then also being very clear and very polite, right? You usually have like a tiered system for like asking people to do stuff, right? Please have a seat. I need you to have a seat, right? I need you to have a seat, and you give them that consequence, right? Please have a seat. I need you to have a seat, or you're going to be kicked out of my classroom, right? Whatever it is.
Yo, welcome to my course today. It's called How to Get Lucky. I realize this has a
It's like the same thing with like, sit the fuck down. Like everyone shut up. Like, talking to that student, it's like, I appreciate you wanting to get on with the lesson, but we don't talk to our peers that way, and I can wait. You know, I can handle them. I don't need your help. I had a fair amount of students that were kind of like this, and it's hard because they are trying to help, but at the same time, what would normally happen is like, would shut up, and then some other student would be like, you shut your bitch ass up, and then it's like, now they're bantering, they're arguing back and forth, and it's just like, it's all of this would have been avoided if that other student felt comfortable with your ability to get the class on task and started. So yeah, it was probably one of the most frustrating things that happened to me. But yeah, it can all be avoided if you are able to get your class settled in and have them all understand the expectation for when we learn.
Bit of a sexual innuendo. It is not sexual, but I truly believe to be a successful streamer, you need to get lucky. I think every streamer has had a moment they can refer to where they got lucky, but it's about capitalizing on that luck, being prepared for when that luck strikes. All right. So here it is. This is my first question I had for y'all. Did anyone have a thought on it? Please. Do you need to be? If you believe you'll be successful, you become successful.
Answer based like what I wrote down. I wrote the answer down.
Yeah.
I said no, but it's the bare minimum to ever be.
Do I have anything to say about this? Sorry, I was a little distracted because I noticed the stream was a little unfit to the page, which maybe let me transform it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. And it didn't really matter up until that point because I just seen the slideshow that they provided. Just give my take on this. What is the question again?
What I wrote down.
Does believing you'll be successful guarantee success? I mean, I think the issue, I mean, sorry, not an issue, but for me, like the word guarantee really like throws a wrench in like the responses. For me, guarantee is nothing's ever guaranteed. So yeah, believing in success does not guarantee it for sure. So yeah, no, it doesn't. Believing you will be successful really helps, as it helps motivate you to do things, to do stuff, because you have this sort of idea in your head that, you know, what I'm doing will lead to success, so I just need to keep working at it. But I also think it could be harmful in the fact that if you believe that you're going to be successful, no matter what you do, right? Or no matter what you're doing, it does not invite criticism or opportunities to improve, right? Because you're convinced that what you're doing will lead to success, potentially, right? And then how does he introduce the question to the class? This was the warm-up, so now he's asking for responses. This is a very common thing. Let's see how he does it.
Yeah.
I said
Be successful, you become successful. If you believe you'll be successful, you become successful.
answer based like what I wrote down. I wrote the answer down.
Yeah.
I said
Believe you'll be successful. To be thought on it. Please.
Yeah, did anyone have a thought on it, right? I would say not does anyone have a thought on it? And this is a little nitpicky, I'll be honest, but just again to try and encourage responses, because this can be a big thing with teaching students, is like people are embarrassed or unsure of their answers. You'd be like, there's no right answer here, you know, so clarifying that and then being like, what did you have to say about this, right? What did you write down is a better way to frame it, because they have an answer. We know. Does anyone have a thought on it? There's no thoughts to be had. You already had them, right? This isn't a question they've seen for the first time. They wrote down an answer. So like, I would frame it as, is anyone willing to share what they wrote, right? Because they have their thoughts. And like, again, reemphasizing there's no wrong answers here. This is just a thought experiment. So does anyone want to share what they wrote down? And then we get back to this.
what I wrote down. I wrote the answer down.
Yeah.
I said no, but it's the bare minimum to ever being able to begin being able to achieve it.
Say that one more time for me.
Now that I think about it, I'm actually not sure. I don't think that he actually told them to write down their answer. I think he said to think about this. So in this case, this is where I would have changed the warm up directions. I would have told them to write it down. And if you don't have a notebook, then provide have like pieces of paper at the class or get one from a friend. And then they have it written down for them. So that way we don't have the issue of people forgetting their answer. Like this gentleman did, where he kind of forgot or he got jumbled up on what he was trying to say. So he had it written down for him. And then you also, again, can encourage people that they have it written down. They should have it written down.
Like, no, but it is the bare minimum to ever begin being able to.
I see what you're saying.
I don't think it's like a grand factor of becoming.
Again, Ludwig shows like active listening, where instead of just being like yada yada yada, like sure whatever you said, right? Because the guy obviously like jumbled up what he was trying to say. So Professor L, right? He said, "Hey, do you could you rephrase that? Like, I think I see what you're trying to say, but can you say it again?" That shows active listening, which is one of the things he said would make someone a great student. So I would just, if I was Professor L, I would explain that. I would model that. I would say exactly what I just did. It's like, hey, I'm not exactly sure what, whatever his name is, just said, so I'm going to ask for clarification. And this is how I want you to actively listen to your peers or listen to me, right? I'm going to ask a question to make sure I understand what they're saying.
Successful, but I do think in order to be successful, you have to have that mindset of.
One more thing. With the active listening, the one thing that he missed and that I think is really important is rephrasing your understanding of what the person said. So I think Ludwig said, I think I understand what you're saying. After you say, I think I understand what you're saying, then you say, let me say what I believe you're trying to say, and if that's true, then awesome. Just to make sure that I have it right. Are you saying that? And then you explain what you heard, what you understood. And if that's right, then you've just actively listened to what they were saying. And they were able to participate. They know that you understand what they were trying to say. It's awesome. It's good.
Like, oh, I want to be successful, and that's the drive. It's not really like, it's the mindset. The mindset's the drive, because the goal, as long as you have your eyes on the goal, your drive is unstoppable.
Marlon?
Well, I do think that's the first step to being successful, you know what I'm saying? But then on top of that, I think, hard work, discipline, all this stuff, if you don't have that, I don't think you'll be successful at all.
Yeah, I think you guys are nailing it on the head. I don't think we got to go more, because it is absolutely true that belief alone.
I guess it depends on the goal of this lesson, but I would ask my students to kind of discuss with their partners, now that we've shared a couple, on I honestly probably would have had my class share their responses with each other, so that way they're comfortable with explaining their answers. They can debate with each other. They can kind of have some friendly discussion on like their differences of opinion, and you as the teacher can go around and hear some responses, talk with students on what they're saying, and then ask them ahead of time if you're willing to share. And then you guarantee we'll have at least 1, 2, or maybe even 3 people that are sharing because you've asked them ahead of time, are you comfortable to share this? And then they say yes, right? Because you encourage them, like, hey, that's a pretty good answer. That's a great idea. Do you mind sharing that with the class? Like, when I call on you later, and they're like, yes, and then you go, awesome, it's great. So yeah, I think that's how I would change this. I would have them compare with each other. But maybe he's short on time with his lesson. Maybe he's not super concerned with this. This is just like a very, very brief intro. But I think that would have been a great opportunity to enhance this warm-up to be a little bit more than it is right now.
Is not enough. All right, what you need is belief, but you also need all those other factors. The most important thing I want you to take away from this class is that you need to be delusional. All right?
Amen. 100%. I always say that. Delusional.
Are already amazing at this.
Okay, so this happens a lot. You show something on screen, and then it triggers, not triggers, but it might be triggers. It kind of like provokes a response in the class, right? They think it's exciting, they think it's upsetting, they think it's shocking, whatever. But they have something to say about it. you are trying to teach a lesson though, so you need to get them quiet. You need to, if they do have a lot to say about it, then you can take this moment as an opportunity and you can say, all right, obviously we have a lot of thoughts and feelings and voices about this, so how about we all turn and talk with our neighbors and talk about what we think about this. And then they're able to more engage with the material. They're able to express their voices and opinions that they have on this subject. And then once they kind of get it out their system, you can take a response or two from the class like we did with the warm-up already. To that way we again give them that voice and choice. In this case, just voice. But we let them like get that attention that they want. And you're able to actually explain what this slide means to them, right? Because you have a lesson that you need to get to also.
All right, you were all delusional enough to have applied to Streamer U and thought that you would get picked to get in. You are all delusional enough to be hitting the go live button, which is in it of itself an act of ego, right? People should be watching me, not other people. So you're a little delusional in that sense. It is a perfect thing if you're going to be a successful streamer. You have to be delusional. It's not a teachable skill. That is a skill that you either have intrinsically, maybe confidence you grew up with. So congratulations, you all have that. And
I don't love this as an idea of a lesson for multiple reasons. So the first thing is okay. I like the idea of like almost reclaiming the term delusional because it's probably something that these streamers have heard in their lives, especially when they were first starting out. Okay. It's always so upsetting when you see a chat and it's the AI viewers chat. So what was I saying? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, here we go. So it's allowing that streamer who has heard this term, like, oh, you're delusional, you're never gonna make money off that, or you're doing what job? Are you crazy? All right, so kind of reclaiming that. That's a fun way to start that. But then he goes on to say that like he keeps using that as like you're crazy for doing these things, but you need to be crazy to be successful. I think I would just reframe it. Like, I'm okay with this because of what I said before about reframing this negative language. But I would probably, yeah, I don't know. I already said what I wanted to say about it. But the other thing that I don't like was like, oh, you have to be delusional to do this, and intrinsically you're different from everyone else because of that, because of what you're doing. As a broad lesson, like, I guess this could be okay because they're all streamers already. He's calling them intrinsically different as a member of this, like, cohort. But I don't like the fact that, like, you're telling everyone else who's watching, because these are streamed videos, right? Or there's videos on YouTube that we're watching now, and these are being streamed live. So he's telling the audience, like, the other people that are watching, that you have to be, that you're it or you're not. You can't learn how to do this. This isn't a skill. You have to be crazy to be a streamer. When in reality, it's like this is a highly lucrative business. It's a feast or famine business, that's for sure. But like the amount of money that entertainers get that's in the entertainment space, that's in the streamer space, is ridiculous. Now, you might be delusional to think you're going to be number one on the platform, but delusional to attempt streaming, I just don't think that's sending the right message. And I don't like that you're saying that in this class you have to be born to be able to be successful or be in this career. I think it's like you should not be framing it that way because you're literally teaching people how to be more successful. You're teaching people how to develop skills. And if you're teaching them how to be more successful, you can teach them how to be standard baseline successful or how to get them into the profession. So yeah, I don't love this as an idea. It just isolates too many people. It isolates people that are in the career but are like self-conscious about it, that might give up, and people that have never picked it up. So yeah, I don't
I have
like
some
that.
more congratulations for you. I got some good news for you all today. Wow. 10,000. All right, no, it's not 10,000. All right, the class is called How to Get Lucky. A little background for y'all on who I am. I am Professor L. All right, if you don't know me,
The PowerPoint design is pretty good right now. Very professional, easy to understand. Let me see. I don't know what this asterisk in the state of Arizona is. Oh, top 50 Super Smash Bros. Melee player. That's what the asterisk. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Streamer of the year.
Oh,
What was that?
that was Bonnie right there.
So uncalled for. What was that? Extremely uncalled for.
No, chat was saying loser. I was like, loser? What are you talking
Bonnie,
about?
everyone gets one. Two, you're out. Professor L, Streamer of the Year 2021.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I was talking about with the other stuff we said. It's like, hey, this is you cannot say this, you cannot do this. This is my consequence if you will continue to engage in this behavior. So yeah, calling me a loser. This is what he should have said that he was going to do. For that first student that was in the classroom, that was like, do you have any other names that you could go by? This is what he should have said. He's like, hey, I'm gonna tell everyone that if they call me a loser, right? That's what you're kind of insinuating. Like the L is for loser. If they call me a loser, everyone gets one, two, and you're out of my classroom. Okay, and that's the end of it. So yeah, that's fine.
Bonnie, do you have one? Oh, shit. Content Creator of the Year 2022. You got one? Oh, shit.
He's again. It's kind of hard because he's streaming. He's playing up content, but calling out your students like this is a really good way to develop that revenge behavior we were talking about earlier. Like we were referring to the what were we referring to? Yeah, the guy where Ludwig yells at a student, and then that student engages in a behavior every time he sees Ludwig now. So I don't think you want Bonnie to develop that revenge and start going back at you, because that's just going to cause more disruptions later in class or later in your life. Uh, Sorry, I got a text message I'm going to answer real quick. For some reason, I thought Planet Fitness was called Gold members for a second, and I don't know why. Okay.
Okay, that's what I thought. Top 50 Super Smash Brothers player. I'm a Red Bull athlete. 6th most sub streamer all time. Engaged to a bad bitch. Fluent Chinese.
With the calling out though, what he does call out is the fact that he's got the accreditation that you should be listening to him, right? He's got Streamer of the Year, he's got Content Creator of the Year 2022, right? He's got these accolades, and so you, the student, should be listening, right? You're not in a place to talk here. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to establish that you are qualified to teach, but I don't know that I would have, like, for the reasons I said, I don't know that I would have called out that student specifically. Um Maybe address the class as a whole. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you should not be speaking out of turn, you should not be doing this. Um because I'm trying to teach you. I have the qualifications, all right? Second. Hello. Okay. Random calls. Okay.
Japanese, other languages, and I'm 31 years old. I'm probably. Show of hands, anyone older than me in this room?
Agent, raise
There we go.
Raise your hand.
There we go. Agent, I don't think you got me beat yet.
What rank nationally?
I'm top 50. Yeah, man. Let's just go to the next slide.
This is in the state of Maryland.
The audience participation there is good. Yes, is anyone older than me? One second. I'll be back. Gotta Alright, here we are. Back to the grind. Sorry for that delay, my single bot viewer. Actual sorry for the VOD watchers. I really should edit my VODs to put like timestamps and stuff, but brother, I could not be bothered right now. I'll edit them eventually. Okay. Okay. Back to it.
All right, y'all. I got great news for you all. These are important facts. Keep in mind. 92% of streamers do not go live a second time. That's real sad. 92% of people will go live once and they will never go live again. To be in the top 1%, all you need is 20 viewers. That is the top 1% on Twitch for streaming. All right? You are already in the top 1%. And of the 1 million students who have applied...
What up, Exter? Yeah, we're, just for some context, we are watching the, Ludwig's video on his class in Stream University, and I'm going through and commenting on his teaching style and the things that he's doing.
You guys made it in. Round of applause for yourselves.
Okay, so this is a really good strategy to again build investment in the class. Like I've said many times before, the relationship between the teacher and the student, or the student with the curriculum, is extremely important. And so in this case, he is showing some data, some real facts that the students can use and teach themselves, inform themselves on their progress, on their success, measure themselves against the larger data set. I've done this for my students with test results where I've shown them, their success or their failures and ways that we could improve. And you really use it as like a sort of wake-up call or like a celebration. Right now, the celebration is just a simple congrats. If he had been working with this class and, we have our current viewers and our current subscribers and all of that data, and then after using my lessons, we've improved those numbers by this percentage. We set a goal for the class, and we create like a incentive for them, like, I'll give you a party, or we'll throw an event, or we'll do like a recording session together. I'll raid you once or something like that. Like, some incentive that they want to do based off of the data, then they become invested in your success, because your success is usually determined by those test scores, those benchmarks, etc., etc. So, yeah, this is good, use of the information that he has access to.
And just by show of hands, who's in the top 1% on Twitch?
All of us.
Okay. All right. That's pretty good.
Again, using that opportunity to engage the class by giving them an opportunity for voice and choice, which we said before, really helps the student engage and helps them have more control over the classroom by helping them participate and giving them that attention that they most often need. Sorry, what was that, Lamau? I don't. There's such a delay. It's hard to say. What we're talking about is the fact that he asks them, who's in the top 1%, and they all raise their hands, and then some of the students don't actually raise their hands, and I think that it's important whenever you ask for that class participation. Yeah, for when you're asking for that class participation, that you need to explain exactly the context, right? So he reemphasizes the information that he just taught them, that the top 1% of Twitch is anyone who has 20 viewers or more. So he needs to emphasize, all right, who's my top 1% who has 20 viewers or more? And then everyone would think about, oh yeah, I have 20 viewers or more. Then they would raise their hand. Versus saying it once and then just saying it again, but not giving the context of it's 20 viewers or more. If it's just, hey, who's my top 1%? And the people who are half listening or not listening at all, they don't really know. They don't participate and they missed out on that information. Versus if you reemphasize it, they are able to learn the information a second time and then they get to participate by raising their hand. They feel better about themselves.
So we're doing well. All right, everyone, do me a favor, check under your chairs.
Uh-oh,
Check
Oprah
under your
moment,
chairs,
Oprah
everyone.
moment.
Everybody check under your chairs right now. All right, okay, everyone's got, who got a star?
Me! I got $10. I got a star.
All right.
I have a star.
Do me a favor, what color star you got?
Silver.
Okay, so this activity seems like it's a great way to get the class engaged and interested. I would have been a little bit more clear on how the class should, yeah, Oprah. I would be a little bit more clear on how I want the class to check under their chairs, because if you see, you've got this guy over here in the back who's like still holding his chair. This person's holding this chair. This is a little dangerous. They could hit other students while they're trying to check their chair because they're so excited. Then you've got an injury. Then you've got a lawsuit. Then you get not a lawsuit, but you've got issues if someone gets hurt. So yeah, I would just have been very clear on the directions, like we said before. Right, so class, I want you to check under your chair. The way you're going to do that is you're going to carefully, pull your chair out away from other students, and then, lift it up to see, and then put it back down, right? That's how you do it. And then you don't have people that don't understand what to do, where they're swinging it around, or they're crawling underneath, like, the chairs. Yeah. But it seems like a fun activity.
Okay, silver, white. Does anyone have a gold star? Anyone have a gold star?
Wait, let me see. That was white. This is white.
You can check under Anyone got to check under the chair of a neighbor if you need. Who's got our gold star? Oh, we got our gold star! Okay. Hold up. Let me explain what the stars mean, everyone. Let me explain what the stars mean. What was your name again, please? Malik. You win our gold star. Are you live right now? I am. Guess what you win for the gold star?
50 gifted. Do I get to your game?
I will be rating you today.
Wow!
Yeah, so this is what I said before, like, as a, they're not MSers. Not sure what that stands for. So this is what I was saying before with, like, incentive. So his incentive is that he's going to raid that, streamer. But what was the action? Oh, they're not middle schoolers. Yeah, they're not middle schoolers, but accidents can still happen. And if you don't direct people on how to do stuff, yeah, they're not middle schoolers, but they're even worse. They're streamers. No. But if you don't tell people how you want something done, then mistakes get made, and things are a little chaotic. And if you're trying to save time, you don't want chaos, you want order. So when we talk about the incentive here, this is a really big incentive. You're getting Ludwig to raid their stream. So that means you get all of Ludwig's viewers going to that person's stream. Get a lot of eyes on them. What did that student do to earn that incentive? They sat at the right place. It was completely random. This is a completely wasted opportunity for a really strong incentive. You could have had a whole lesson designed around some activity that was going to teach the class something, and the person who did the very best on it, or the student that was the most well-behaved or the most helpful, whatever you're trying to emphasize, you could have had the incentive be that raid. But now you've lost that incentive to what you decided was random chance. So now you don't go from encouraging good behavior, you go from encouraging students to expect random prizes at a moment's notice. So yeah, people are more excited to join your class maybe, but they're not actually going to behave any differently based off the incentive that you've set up. So I think this is a major missed opportunity.
Now, guys, what did Malik do to earn that gold star?
Got lucky!
Got lucky. Okay. Raise your
Okay, so a little bit longer. The whole point of this is to, I see now, the whole point of his lesson is about taking opportunities and preparing yourselves for the opportunity. Bro, self-aware. Yeah, taking a moment to, he's probably going to go on to say, like, you need to be prepared for these opportunities that happen in life because they are random, and you need to be able to capitalize on these opportunities. So, okay, if that's the point, you did a really good job. Really great use of a random of an incentive to get your point across. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take the L on that one. Nice job, Professor L.
And if you got a white star.
I got a white star.
I got bad news for you. All right, you guys, and this is a real stat, you guys are going to leave Streamer U less successful than you came in.
It's always the white people get the bad end of it, you know. Too long. No, it's okay. Okay, let's see where he's going with
I
this.
need you guys to listen to these stats I'm about to tell you. They're very important. Most of you guys are going to fail. Most of you in this room actively are going to fail as streamers. Why? I did the math on last year's Streamer 2025 invites.
Okay, cool. Clip. So this is a good, I'm assuming he's going to end the lesson with something uplifting. What we've got right here is a really good like compliment sandwich where he opens up with like, you guys are in the 1% of streamers. And then he's bringing up like the dark side of Twitch, which is like most of you will fail. Most of you will be worse off with StreamU. And then maybe at the end he's going to do something better. That's just a good way to deliver information. So yeah, this is hopefully he follows up the end of the lesson with that uplifting news that will motivate them and keep them going. Because right now, it's important to give people the hard facts. But how do we avoid this failure, right? How do we avoid quitting streaming or, doing worse?
Here's the chart. Now I'm going to break down this chart for you. It's a dumbbell chart.
Wow, that's too much for me.
These black dots are where they were at.
So students are very often, going to get overwhelmed by stuff like this because you need to be an expert or really familiar with the subjects to understand what this information is saying. At the end of the day, infographics and charts, number one job is to explain and express data in a way that is understandable. So yeah, him going through and teaching them how to understand this chart is good. I will say this probably could have been reframed or redone in a way that's a little bit more accessible, because right now the font is super small. I imagine it's even worse in person. And the lines, there's so many different little data points that I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at here. And I also don't see a label for the X or Y axis. There's just marking, there's a legend at the top that shows the dates, and then green and red. So green is for increases, red is for decreases. That's a good use of color. Okay.
Before Streamer U 2025, April 2025, that was their average viewership. The red line, okay, that means they went down in viewers. The green line, they went up in viewers. The orange dot is what their viewership is last month, okay? So these are people who they went to Streamer U, they had all that success, all that excitement, I'm about to be a fucking amazing streamer. Now their viewership, down to here, okay?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing here, just to make that a little bit more legible, is I would have the dots be bigger, so they could see the differences between data points. I think the lines being thin is fine, because they can just see that it's going one direction or other direction more or less. And then the orange versus the black is a good color swap, just to know, like, this is their new data point. This is where they're at currently. That's fine.
I'll give you the stats more concretely so you can really grasp it. The average viewership of all the streamers who participated in Streamer U.
This is also really good. Like, okay, this is like the broad chart. Here's some more like actual information, like usable stats for you as a student, right? That's important.
2025 is down 287 viewers. Wow. They have lost viewers year over year. Wow. Now, obviously, that's outweighed by people with larger streams. Okay, they have much more of an impact. The median streamer. All right, the median. We know what the median is, right? You slash both ends, so you get the person in the middle. All right,
nice job explaining that term, because the median is a little bit of key vocab that some people might not know. Average is super colloquial, like everyone uses average. Everyone says that, and people understand like what it means. Median is a little bit of a math term. You might not remember it from like middle school or high school or elementary. I think it's elementary actually. You might not remember that. And so just to make sure we both understand, it's like it's that middle person, right? That person in the middle. So yeah, I think that's good. Good little explanation of it.
Marlon, you shaking your head no?
No. Sarah is on me again. Like,
It's all right. The median viewer, is all you need to know, has gained.
Good addressal of a student who you maybe not understand something or has a question or disagrees, right? That's good addressal of it. It's important to pick that student out to make sure that they don't have any concerns or issues. The fact that he totally ignores the cause of that disruption because he thought it was like a question, but it turned out to be a distraction and a disruption. He just ignores that student. I would have addressed that. Explain to that student that same consequence you gave to similar disruptions where it's like, hey, this is your first warning. The second one, you're out of my classroom, right?
4 viewers before and after Streamer U. Okay? This is you. This is what you will be, all right, next year after all the excitement's over, after all the collabs happening, all right, after your viewership skyrocketed, your followership skyrocketed, you are going to get 4 more viewers. Over half. If you got a white...
I don't think that actually makes sense. Am I stupid here? I'm not like the greatest at math, but like, okay, if the median, if like the person in the middle, like not the extremes, but the person in the middle got 4 viewers, that doesn't actually mean like the average person here is going to be that median. Like they could just as easily be, you know, from the on the extreme end, on the lower end. I don't think that follows. Yeah, I'm not crazy, right? Like a bell curve would be what you want, and like the bell curve would show where a highest proportion of people. I think he's using median because the average is skewed by the extremes. We'll just take out the extremes in your data. You say, hey, these people are outliers that are ruining my data set. You take them out, and then you find the actual average. Right? Like, yeah, I agree that like people are in the extreme, but then you just adjust the data to fit like a more realistic depiction of what Streamer U does. Median price and for housing. Yeah, but I think that median is like there's multiple houses in that area that are around that median. Maybe the chart did have a bunch of people that were like really low, like they're around like 4, like 5 or 3 or 2, but I don't know.
That is you. Over half of the streamers have gained single-digit viewers or lost viewers year over year. Okay, why do we think that is? Streamer U is supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. You're supposed to have made it.
They didn't capitalize.
You're in the big leagues. Marlon, why not?
Well, I do think when you come here, everybody's gonna spike. Big streamers, small streamers. When you leave, you gotta make sure you entertain them on your own as well and try to capitalize of it and then grow, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, capitalize, I like that. What else?
Kind of like what he's saying, but you.
Okay, 2 things. One, I like that he's asking, you know, okay, this is the information. What do you feel about it? Like, how does this happen? You know, get them to like really think about this because this is like a problem, right? If I'm here to be successful, why are so many not? Right? How do we solve this? That's good. The other thing, why are we just ignoring the shenanigans happening right here? Right? Like, I know, like this guy is my student. This guy did not show up to my class. I don't know where he came from, and I don't know why they're getting up and swapping seats right now. Like, this is a distraction, and I need this addressed because it's going to distract other people around them, and it's distracting those 2 right now.
Also got to find ways to maintain the trajectory because it's like this is going to skyrocket you in one way or another.
Robert needs his dad.
If you just instantly go back to not changing anything about your content or not implementing things you might have learned or not collabing with people that you met, you just going to end up right back where you were.
I think ultimately, when shit's going good, when the viewer number's up, it's really easy to spark stream. All right? It's really easy to post clips with Streamer U in it, and they do amazing. Okay? You know what sucks? Is doing it when you don't have a great game plan. when you have nothing going on. All right? So motivation is great, but we should discipline ourselves in small things and from those progressive things of greater value. This is Marcus Aurelius. Okay? He was the leader of Rome, the largest empire in the world. He wrote himself a journal called Meditations. It was his private thoughts. It was never published. They published it after he died. He's the most powerful man on earth. He's writing this. Okay? He has everything in front of him. He is writing this. So what does it mean to be disciplined versus motivated? Okay, we all know motivation.
I'm okay. I'm okay with like giving historical background on a quote. And I will say I was a little like, why are we doing this? Just have them focus on the quote. But he's saying that even the biggest, the baddest, and the greatest, he said this. Like, this is what he thinks. So, how does this apply to us? I think that's a meaningful historical context that you're bringing up, and it helps the students engage better with the quote. It makes it seem more relatable to them, where it's like, even if I am the best or I feel like I'm doing great, how do I actually engage with this? Like, how do I keep discipline up?
Simple. Discipline's forever. How do we get some discipline? This is an activity. I want you guys to all be doing this right now. This was your homework. If you did it, good. If you didn't, do it now. Pen and paper. Pen and paper right now. If not, you can put it in your phone right now. That is fine. But I need you to write this down later.
Okay. Couple issues with this. This was the homework, but now we're doing it as an activity. I get the want to do that, especially if you feel like this is essential for your lesson. Issue is, you're not explaining to those that have done the homework what they should be doing. Now the people that have done the homework are getting punished because they're now having to wait around and their time is being wasted. So you need to give them an incentive, right? They get to whatever, like they get candy, they get to chat with all of the other people that have done the homework already, or they get to. This always pissed me off in school, yeah, because like you do what you're supposed to, and then you're punished for it, right? So, and this happens in business too, but it shouldn't, right? And so if you're designing, if you have control of the room of the lesson, then you should design things to be more idealized, right? So yeah, he needs to have something for the students that did what they were supposed to. They should get something for it, or they should be able to. He should help them, like, oh, I feel cheated. I miss out on personal time. Miss out on an opportunity to learn novel things. Yep. You spent your time at home doing something, then you're punished for it. It sucks. And so, yeah, they should be able to help other people, like be leaders. They don't have paper right now. Maybe you have them go on a little side quest. They get extra content on getting the class paper or something to do this activity or something like that. I don't know. And that makes them more engaged with the lesson and helping out and whatever. These are the overachievers because they did the homework when no one else did. So they would be willing to do that. They would like that. And then what else we have going on here? There's people that don't have paper. Why are you as a teacher not providing the supplies that you know your students are going to need for your lesson? He adapts, which is really good, where it's like you can do this on your phone. But then you have people in the back who are stressing and like shouting out like, oh, I don't have that, I don't have this. You should have outlined your things clearly, of what you're going to need and like where people should get it. So let's continue.
Why is everybody asking me? Where me? I only have 2 pens.
That's all we need. Put your phone out, write it down later.
I'm gonna write that down later. I'm not kidding.
Let's put it in the phones right now at the very least.
Yeah, so now we have chaos, right? So yeah, in this moment, he should have like went back to his attention grabbing. If you hear me, clap once. If you hear me, clap twice. And then just settled, hey, all right, I expected everyone to have these supplies. It's okay. What we're going to do, listen to me closely. If you don't have a pen and paper, or you would prefer not to write on pen and paper, grab your phone, open the Notes app, and then you could even show them doing this, and write down the answers to these different questions, right? And you model that behavior, you show the expectation, and now everyone's on the same page, we're not stressing, we're not talking out of turn, and we're doing our activity.
Thank you so much for your service.
We can run it on the phone. All right, guys. We're writing down our goals. These are goals that you want to achieve before the end of the year. They're 2026 goals. We're in July. We're over halfway through. We don't have that much time left. But what do you want to achieve by the end of the year? These don't have to be streamer related. All right, they can be about maybe your personal health, your personal relationships. But I want you to be writing down the goals. If you're writing down on your phone, I want you to write these down physically, okay? This, I have it. I didn't bring it with me, actually. I fucked up. We forgot to bring it. I wrote this down in 2018. I literally have the piece of paper in my dorm room, okay? It was 2,000 subs, 100K followers, 1 million uniques, be punctual, be full time. I went 4 for 5. I'm not a punctual guy, I'll be honest about myself. All right, I went 4 for 5, but I do believe there is some value in material.
Yeah, admitting faults. Admitting faults is important. Makes you more relatable as a speaker. Makes people like, oh, because if you're perfect or if you project perfection, you either come off as inauthentic or you come off as impossible to emulate or achieve. So yeah, just like I got 4 out of 5. I also like the idea that he's clarifying now that if you are writing on your phone, then you need to get it physical, and like I'm assuming he's going to explain the why of that, of having that physical reminder to hold you accountable is probably what he's going to say. So
Realizing your goals by writing them out, putting them in the universe, okay? Yes. And I want to see your goals. I'll reply to all of them. That's part of your homework today. But ultimately, motivation is fleeting. Discipline, okay, is what will help you be a successful whatever you want to be in the future, and goals can help you be accountable. Okay, make the goals achievable, but also something that you're shooting for. Next up, we're going to...
I think maybe I would have explained your process of writing your own goals with the class. And I would even probably go through an activity where you write your own goals for this year for yourself. It's like we said with modeling before. When you just told the class that they need to be achievable, but something that to aspire to, there's going to be at least one student, but probably a fair amount, that aren't going to know. Tom, apparently I've been registered. Oh, well, there you go. You're already good. You're set up. If you're already... Sorry, lost my train of thought. You need to understand what it means to have an achievable goal that is still attainable. And like, so for a lot of people, they're not going to know that balance of like, how should I define what's achievable? How am I going to define how to set up a goal, right? And then if you show the class how you set up your own goals, right? This is what I look at. I look at last year's performance, and then based off of that, I set up a goal that's an improvement from that, but that's also realistic with my growth over the past, whatever, or that I believe or that I judge could be something I could do, right? And then, you know, whatever, but you show them how you would do it, right? Versus just saying to do it.
Talk about schedule. All right, this is important. When I first went full-time streaming, I did what probably a lot of you maybe do right now. I went live. When I woke up, I went to bed. When I was tired, I woke up whenever I woke up. And I sort of did that on repeat, but you probably have recognized, maybe some of you who have started full-time streaming from a regular job, schedule kind of helps. Yes. It helps make sure you wake up at similar times, get similar sunlight, you eat correctly, you're working out correctly. And I don't think people think enough about streamer schedules. They just think about, when can I spark? How long can I be live? And I think a lot of you right now, who's doing 24/7 here? Okay. Now this is fine. Look, it's Streamer U.
Of course, the Caped Crusaders are doing 24/7. They got those. they gotta stop crime. You know, they can't take a day off. No, I think this is really good advice for a group of highly motivated individuals, really like hungry, young, ambitious people. That they need to check themselves. They're gonna burn out. We talk about this as teachers a lot, right? We're highly invested. The job requires a lot, and if you're not careful, then you burn yourself out really early. Doing too much because everyone's asking everything of you, because that's just the career, and you get tired of it fast. So just knowing how to disconnect and when to disconnect, and how to limit yourself, right?
It's a rare event. You're capitalizing on it, okay? But let's get a good schedule when we get back. I'm going to tell you this is my ideal schedule. This is what I try to do day to day, at least when I go live. I wake up 9:30. The first thing I do, first 4 hours of my day, it's meetings. I do some podcasts. I eat right. I do like at least, 5K steps. It's just starting my day off, okay? Next up, 1 p.m. This is probably one of the most important parts of my day. It's me time. I'm looking at people's streams. I'm ideating what I'm going to do on stream that day. That's it. I got nothing else on the plate. It's eat, ideate. I watch.
I wasn't gonna mention it, but he just used it again. He wrote down the word ideate. He used the word ideate twice now. He has not defined what ideate means. That is a complex vocab word that is not common. Context clues, you could probably figure out that it means to like think about or plan, but there's no reason to use this word other than to flex on your students, which, flexing on your students is somewhat important to build credibility. It's like, oh, I know how to use this fancy word. But when you use that fancy word, you use it as a learning opportunity or a teaching opportunity for yourself. You're teaching them what that word now means so they can use it themselves. So he uses the word ideate, and then he should qualify what ideate means the same way he did median. He probably didn't think about it. He knows what the word means, so he's just using it. But yeah, I would have explained that.
Watch Twitch, that's it. 4 p.m., usually about when I go live. I don't go live for more than 4 to 6 hours. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit why that's, I think, a good amount of time for you guys to go live for. But I'll do whatever segments I had come up with in my ideation process, and then decompress, hang out with my fiance, eat dinner, chill, and then I try to hit a similar bedtime every day. This is going to be another homework assignment for y'all. This one you guys don't need to show to me, but I want you to create an ideal schedule for yourselves for when you guys get back from Stream Review. What is the life you want to lead? Okay, write it down for yourself. You can make your life really easy if you just follow the script that you give yourself. Another.
I'm okay with him giving homework, especially this kind of homework where it's like it's for their self-improvement. That's fine. I talk about like the diminishing returns on homework and how it's hard to give people homework, but this one is for their benefit. The only thing I would criticize is that this homework, he doesn't give directions on how to do this. He doesn't offer a YouTube video on, like this is how people make schedules. He doesn't offer a app that they could use to build a schedule or any other advice on he offers a model, which is really good, but he doesn't teach them how they should make their own schedule. He just offers a model of this is what your schedule could look like. So,
important thing, take days off. I think a lot of you guys don't want to take days off. I think a lot of you guys feel this pull to keep going. You are human. You are fallible. Give yourself the best opportunity to succeed in 5 years. People underestimate what they can do in 5 years. They overestimate what they can do in 1 year, okay? So if you give yourself a little rest, you'll be a lot more successful in the long term. Are you trying to be a streamer for a year and burn out and then be like, oh, I can't deal with content creation? Or are you trying to do it, I'm on year 8, okay? Yeah. And you never seen a tweet out of me going, oh man, I'm so fucking tired doing this. Because I take time off. I go to Dodgers games, I hang out with my fiance, I do whatever. But I think time off is important. That shit actually matters. It will help you in the long run. It will also help you be a more well-rounded individual.
Yeah, I mean, again, just with burnout, it's highly applicable to teaching. We get summers off, though. That's our days off. Yeah, no. It's really important to just disconnect. When the bell rings, I maybe stay for another 20 minutes, just settle things out or call parents or something like that, but it's over. We're cutting it off. I'm going home, and that's it. If I need something done for tomorrow's lesson, that's for tomorrow me to figure out, and I'm gonna do that before that little 30 minutes I have before class. That's it.
People who stream every day, they become rotted individuals. All right, I think experiencing life makes you a better streamer, makes you a more well.
What they become the is it the tarnished in Dark Souls or Elden Ring? Which one? They become the fucking
rounded
lifeless.
This also matters. Do we have a question on that?
Did you start taking days off once you made it big, or when you were still small?
All right, guys, hold up. That's a good question. Did I take days off when I was making it big? Okay, look.
As soon as you had that person start talking and everyone started talking, he should have cut off there. He said, "Sorry, people are being rude." And then he should have done an attention grabber, right? And then made it very clear that he doesn't want the class talking when he's calling on someone or if someone has a question. We need to be respectful of them. We need to be listening because you would want someone to listen to you if you had a question, right?
It's true that when the number's going up, it is really exciting to ride that wave and do as much as you can to keep it going. It's like what you guys are doing currently with Streamer University. I gotta go live every day. Okay, that's fine. I think it's okay for short periods of time to do that, but make it a short period of time. Recognize, hey, I'm catching this wave. I'm gonna take some time for myself after, all right, to catch up on the life that I haven't been leading because I've been so focused on work. It's really easy for streamers to fall in the trap. You know the trope of like the working husband, barely knows his wife, barely knows his kids, works every day? Streamers do that to themselves all the time. So many streamers have amazing relationships online. Offline, they barely talk to the people they stream with. They have no personality. They give everything to their creation, and then they're a husk of themselves. In 10 years, you will not be hearing about them. I promise you that.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your GOAT? There's another homework assignment. I need you guys
He's given them a lot of homework, which, from what I understand, I think that they only get this one day with Professor L, and then they move on to a different streamer. So it's like one lesson from them, and then they're done. Like they don't show up to that class ever again. So I kind of get you want to give them a lot to take home. But, just broadly speaking, like as an educator, you don't want more than one homework assignment. It's okay to how can you review? Not sure what that's referring to. Review what specifically? But you don't want multiple homework assignments because people are going to miss out on what you want them to do. There's going to be too much for them to do. They're going to get overwhelmed. They're not going to keep up with it. And so, you just stick to the one homework assignment. Oh, how do you review the homework? I think for them, it's not like they're getting an actual grade. I think this is more like a mentorship sort of situation where it's like you're here to improve yourself. And so in this case, the homework is not something you have to do for a grade. It's something to improve yourself. So this is something to take home and work on, like an exercise. So yeah. But yeah, it's a good question. It's like a lot of these activities, you would want them to be reviewed so that way you could help that streamer improve as a streamer, right? Because if this is like the schedule one, for example, if they make a shit schedule for themselves, then you would want some feedback on it, but you're done. Like you don't get to see that teacher again. So I think if they do streamer you in the future, they should change that to where it's like you get assigned a teacher, and it's like you're working with that teacher, instead of you get like one day. But maybe that would be like intense for the budget or something like that. I don't know.
to be writing down who your streaming goats are. Now for this specifically, all right, it is important for you to study what you are passionate about, okay? You cannot be a streamer if you do not watch streams. It just doesn't work. You don't actually care about the medium. Maybe you just like the idea of being big and successful. Maybe you like the idea of being rich. You'll just never be successful if those are your reasons. You have to truly love streaming to be a big streamer, all right? So what does it mean when I say...
I don't know how much I agree with this. I mean, I think it's definitely important to, like I've said before with modeling, to see someone doing things in action helps you be able to actually achieve it. But I don't know that I agree. Like, let's just take, it's not streaming. Let's pretend it's not streaming. Let's pretend that we are talking about an accountant, right? Just because I love my job doesn't mean I want to watch someone accounting. maybe that's not the same thing because we're doing entertainment, but if I'm a football player, am I going to be watching football? I mean, probably, but do I have to be successful? No, I have to watch tape. I have to watch film and practice and look at like different plays. So, I mean, is that the same as watching streamers for my enjoyment? I mean, maybe that's where I'm struggling, is that like if I'm going to watch a streamer, it's strictly as a sort of study situation. It's not because I'm enjoying watching streaming. I don't have to enjoy watching someone stream, but I do need to watch someone stream. I think that's true for some people. Yeah. And maybe again he's talking about the longevity of a streamer. Like to be like really in this game, you have to really enjoy streaming as a medium, and you have to like watch other people for your downtime. But I think like more casually, I shouldn't have to watch streaming as an enjoyment in order to be successful. I think I should definitely dedicate some time to watch another streamer that I like, to learn about like some things that they do, some styles that they engage with, or strategies for dealing with like chatters, or like different methods of moderation, or different tools to engage the audience. But I don't think I need to like, oh man, long day of streaming, what am I gonna do to like wind down? Watch more streams because that's what I enjoy. No, I don't think you need to do that, but I think it'd definitely help.
Who's your GOAT? I need you to find streamers in the niche you are in. Okay? If you are doing sports, don't put down, you know, Jeffree Star as your GOAT or whatever. Try to make it somebody who's in the same sphere as you. All right? So for example, look, everyone knows Anthony Edwards? All right? Anthony Edwards often says he's inspired by KD. KD, talk to him in an interview, he says he's inspired by Kobe. Kobe obviously inspired by Michael Jordan. Most of you probably don't know who David Thompson is. Okay, that's the domino piece that started it all. He inspired Michael Jordan to be the player he is. We say.
But who inspired David Thompson? That's the domino piece that started it all. What's that meme? There's a meme where it's like, I'm thinking of the Futurama meme, where it's like, well, what was the missing link between Homo sapien and Homo erectus? And it's like, well, we actually found that. And it's like, you just keep going down the line, where it's like, finally, the missing link. It's, yeah. Yeah, if you know, you know. Yeah, it's just like, where it's like, you just keep going back until they can't find, like, proof of it, where it's like, oh, I guess you got us.
On the shoulders of giants. Respect these giants. Study your GOATs. I'm going to give you a few examples of people who I like right now. And so when I ask you to write down these GOATs for this homework assignment, I want you to write down 3 people and why. What about their content do you find so alluring? So I'm going to give you examples so you can do this easier. Joe Bart, king of the content funnel. We'll talk about the content funnel a bit later. Okay? RDC, they're probably kings of authenticity in streaming. And I think authenticity is what audiences really enjoy, right? Especially because there's such like a Mr. Beastification, you know, of like big grand events or whatever. People like authenticity. A friend group who are actual real life friends. You can't get much better than that. And then KDB, she's funnier than I'll ever be. So honestly, I'll watch funny people to hopefully pick up a thing or two. So anyway, that's an example of a few GOATs. I need you guys for your homework. All right, this is it. Your homework today. Write down your 3 goals. It can be 3 or more.
What did you just say?
Is that Lacey?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like the vibe.
He didn't like the vibe.
He didn't like the vibe.
Tell him to be allowed.
Can you go out, yell him, and tell him to go see Dean Sinat on my behalf?
Oh my God.
Right now, baby, go yell him. Hey, Lacey, Dean Sinat right now.
Truly,
I'm not playing.
Truly uncomfortable.
I'm not playing. You are 30 minutes late to class.
I'm not even in this class.
Batman, go handle
That's even a better reason. Dean Sinat.
Vocal notes.
Get out of here.
Don't worry about it, I got it.
I don't know what's happening. This is probably like a content thing. Like this is like a stream university. If someone does show 30 minutes late to your class, you know, usually you just like, I think, yeah, this feels very staged. I'll react to it. just to see what's happening. But yeah, I don't really. This feels over the top.
All right, come on. Let's get out of here. All right. All right, close the door, Better. All right, homework. Guys, back to it, your homework. All right, there's 3 things. I'm only checking for 2. First one, I need your goals, at least 3 for the end of the year. I need you to think about the schedule. I don't need to see what your schedule is, but start thinking of an ideal schedule. And then finally, write down your 3 goats and why they are your goats, what you admire about them. And I want to just actually take a few right now. Does anyone have some goals they'd like to share with the class? Bonnie, please. What's a goal?
Like lose my imposter syndrome, because I do struggle with that a little bit.
Lose your imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Like just be more confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how about we...
Oh, brother.
Okay. Let's deal with the museum near my training site. Oh, well, that'd be exciting. Pinball museums are usually fun. Yeah, a couple things are happening here. Let me rewind. Firstly, I like that. I'm a little confused why it's called homework if we're doing it in class right now, so that's a little confusing. But I like that it's very clear. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, then we're doing this. Like it's goals, schedule, goats, own it, right? Explain that. Then we ask if anyone's already like done, if they've got some goals, because I think we gave them some time earlier to write down some goals potentially. So if anyone wants to share, going on asking for shares, that's great. And then, she talks about imposter syndrome. A student doesn't know what it means, asks for clarification. That's good, encouraging that. When Bonnie says that it means this, you as a teacher should probably know that she got the definition wrong, and so should be like, yes, that is 100% a big part of imposter syndrome. For everyone else, and just to make sure we have it clear, imposter syndrome is like those feelings that Bonnie was talking about, but specifically, it's about those feelings are caused by the feeling that you don't belong in your group or your cohort. So helping the class actually understand what imposter syndrome is, and potentially Bonnie, who is using the term but is using it somewhat incorrectly, or may have a misinterpretation, or maybe just didn't explain it clearly enough. So yeah, using it as a learning opportunity is really good.
Lose my imposter syndrome, because I do struggle with that a little bit.
Lose your imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Like just be more confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how about we...
Oh, brother.
Okay, yeah, phone goes off in class. What do you do? It depends on your school. Like my school it's supposed to be off and away, and if it isn't, then it gets confiscated. Because it is a major distraction. But this is kind of weird because you've got like everyone has their phones because we're doing this like streaming thing. So I would not. I mean, if the expectation was made clear that our phones are supposed to be on mute, sure, we could have some consequence. But I don't really. I don't think this is a issue for like the context of this classroom specifically.
So uncomfortable. I'll let it slide. I think, Bonnie, a good way to phrase goals are things you can make actions on, right? So losing imposter syndrome is hard because it's a little open-ended. So maybe...
This is great advice, right? He is explaining, hey, that's a good goal, but I think we could adjust it. Bigger issue, though, is that he didn't teach them how to make a goal. So, like, he's asking people to share the thing that they... He told them to do something. Now that they did it, he's saying, actually, that's wrong. This is how you actually do it. Which is fine. Students make mistakes all the time. But the key thing here is that you need to teach them how to do it in the first place. Right? He didn't teach anyone, so there's going to be a lot more mistakes like that. Good on him for noticing that there's an issue with the goal, though, and helping teach everyone with this moment that like you don't want things to be open-ended. You want very clear and actionable goals with like markers of success.
Write down things you appreciate about yourself every day. Like building confidence in ways that you can make tangible actions towards, as opposed to hurting yourself in your own goal. In your own goal, you've labeled that you have imposter syndrome. But if we were to make our goal, hey, I'm going to say like, things I appreciate about myself in the world and the friends that I have in my life, then that works towards your goal without phrasing your goal in a negative way.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about like the way we phrase stuff a lot in education. So like if you have a student who is talking out of turn and you need them to be quiet, you don't want to say, "Hey, stop talking." That's not really that helpful because all you did was identify the negative of stop talking. It doesn't actually give actions that help the student engage back with the lesson. It just stops the distraction where it's saying to stop talking. It doesn't actually tell them what you want them to do afterwards. So instead of stop talking, it's, hey, can you please focus up here? Right? Now we're being more positive with our language and tells them what they want, what we want them to do. Even better is please stop talking and focus your attention on me, right? So it's stop what you're doing now and then it redirects it to the positive what we want them to do. So yeah.
Any other goals? I'm gonna go around. I'm just gonna bounce around. Come back. What you got?
To lose weight.
To lose weight? Why do you want to lose weight?
Because I'm fat.
Now, are you saying you're fat, or do you feel bad when you walk around?
No, I mean, I feel like I can.
I think this guy's trying to be a little funny with his delivery. But I think I appreciate Ludwig's like taking this seriously. Because it's his goal, right? He should be taking it seriously. And actually engaging in some discourse on like the why, and is this something that you actually want, or is it something because people have said this about you? I think that's also important. What I will say is I think you should address the people like laughing, like hey, like let's take it seriously, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like settle down, or like let's not make fun of him. Like this is his goal. This is important to him, right?
Are people calling you fat? Does chat call you fat?
You are not that fat.
Oh, damn. What the fuck is that? You are not that fat?
Be uncalled for. You got so much.
That's crazy. All right.
Banter is fine. In this case, it could be like negative. You'd have to just like get a vibe check on if the student is feeling uncomfortable or like that they are self-conscious about their weight, and like then you'd like deal with the situation differently. But yeah, banter is fine. Swearing, I've said it before, but like the swearing is unprofessional even when you're teaching adults. You can do it when you're teaching adults, but still it's like it helps clarify that this is like a professional space that we're here to learn if you keep the language civil. So
I think that's a good goal. I think personal goals are great. What you got back there?
Grow my clothing brand and sell about 10,000 for the first year.
Grow your clothing brand, sell 10,000 units in the first year?
Yeah.
I like that. What's the clothing brand name?
OLVR, Oliver.
Have you dropped a drop yet?
Not yet. I'm getting samples August 10th.
Now samples August 10th? Yes. I like it. All right.
brother is getting samples and he hasn't done this before. He's getting started. He wants to sell 10,000 units. I mean, I don't know his viewership, but that seems insane. Like that seems like an insane goal. What are we talking about? For your first drop? Okay.
What's your goal?
Make more art, learn how to spend time off, and more technology free time. And AJ, you lost so much weight, don't call yourself fat.
AJ, I like that. AJ. Why are you calling it make more? I think it's important with goals. Let's get a little more specific. Make more art is open-ended. It can be one of those goals that you're like, I can do it eventually.
So, again, so many of these goals wouldn't have been written like this if you just taught them how to write a goal. And also, when you mentioned that the other guy's goal was good, why was it good? Explain what makes that goal so good. And in this case, it would be the actionable nature of it. It's something you can do. It has a time frame. Right, it's something I want to do this at the end of the year. Right, put that a part of the goal so you don't forget it. It has numbers. It has like margins of success. 10,000 units. He wants to be able to sell 10,000 units. All those things are really important to the goal. And then, is it achievable? I would have said this is probably a danger. I don't feel like that was achievable given the circumstances, but I don't know all the stats, so who am I to say?
You can push that off. So I don't know what specific art do you make?
Well, that's the thing. I do all art. I'm all media. So it's just more like reconnect with it. Like, okay, more specifically, reconnect with it off stream. Because now I have such
I like
a streaming mindset that I'm like, okay, now how can I structure this art to be funny and interesting for a stream to keep my viewership going?
So why
I
not
need to like
say,
cut that off.
hey, I'm taking Fridays off now. That's a day where I can work on myself and I can also do my art.
Because like you said earlier, it's so easy to like when you see a wave that you want to be like, oh, I need to ride this one. Because I feel like there's always I have random lucky moments where I'm like, okay, I'm taking this one.
Yeah, but I think it's all right. I think the day off won't kill you. But or even if it's a morning or whatever it is, I mean, you can fit it in. How about an example of some goats? Who here has a goat in mind? Someone they really like, someone they think's great, that inspires.
So based off like the time we got to do this activity, it's a little confusing on my end. It seems like people are being encouraged to not listen to their peers when they're sharing, because we gave them the homework activity where they were doing what were they doing? They were doing the goal, they were doing the schedule, they were doing the goats, right? But we really just told them about the goats and the schedule. So you wanted them to be doing that while people shared their thoughts on their goals. So if I'm not finished with my work, I'm not really listening to the people sharing because I'm trying to finish what the teacher told me to do. We need to be more mindful of how much time we give students to do their work. And if we're listening to peers, that's what we're doing. If we're doing our work, that's what we're doing. Because right now you have this thing of you have people that aren't really paying attention to your feedback on the goals. And so if I was too busy doing my goats and my schedule, I didn't listen to any of the lessons that you were giving to the people that shared their goals. And so when I write my goals, they're messed up. Why did Batman leave his son? He had to deal with justice. That guy showed up 30 minutes late, took him to Kaisenat's dean. Yeah, he never came back. Yeah. He's dealing with stuff, man. Robin's gotta learn. Batman's already been through school. It was like bring your son to work day. Or no, it's flip. It was bring your dad to school day.
Them. What you got?
Extra Emily.
Extra Emily, and why?
I like her.
Driving? No, I'm just playing.
Oh,
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I like Extra Emily too.
My car is total too, but that's not the point. So no, I like that she just does like solo streams. I do the same thing where I just travel.
And IRL?
Yeah, I'm about to do a Europe tour solo. Just me and my camera.
And the confidence she has walking in those places.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Mr. Keem.
This is no glaze.
Can't say me. I will go next.
Agent Zero. He's the best variety streamer ever. All right.
Cocky for saying not me. Best variety streamer. What? So what do you mean by that? Why is he better than Lyric?
He's very consistent. He does immaculate IRL content. He's an amazing gamer, and he's a Reacts king.
I would say what he does better. What does he do better than Lyric?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't watch a lot of Lyric. I know who he is,
What
but
does
I
he
don't
do
watch
better
him a lot.
than Soda Poppin'? What's he do better than me?
What's he do better than?
It's not a competition, Ludwig.
Okay. We're halfway through the video. Let me make sure that there's not like a major part that's not in the classroom. Yeah, this is all part of class. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna end stream here. Um, I've been going for almost 3 hours now. That's usually how long I really stream for. So this is a good stopping point. I'll release the VOD on YouTube, and then I'll probably edit this down a little bit and have it be my first like edited video. You want more? I'm sorry, man. I got stuff to do. It's 7 night. I gotta go to sleep. There's no we. This second viewer is a bot, almost guaranteed. I gotta get that. Have you not been listening? You gotta make a content funnel. I'm gonna do this second stream about the second half of this video, and then I got 2 videos out of this now, where I would have just had one long VOD. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, get out of this. There we go. Wait a minute. This isn't at all. What the world? Oh, here it is. Moves. Holy technical difficulties right now. Wait one second. Okay, bam. Okay, well, that was not as smooth as I wanted to be. I don't know what happened to my webcam that was already here. All right, so that was the first half of Ludwig's class. We'll get to the second half next stream. Or actually, I'll probably take a break and read House of Leaves because I haven't done that in a hot minute. So be on the lookout for my for a future stream where I'll break down Ludwig's class. And that is, I guess I could also do a outro for the video if I did make a YouTube video of this. So that was the first half of Ludwig's stream, and I'll be watching the next half in a little bit. So go ahead and click the video that pops up on screen. That will take you to Ludwig's next half of this class. Thank you for watching, and hope you guys have a great day or night, whenever it is for you. I'll be signing off, though.